Hey everybody. Hey y'all. Can you hear? I can't hear you.
Clearly, because the mic was on mute. What's up,
Oh, okay,
everybody?
there we go. Hey, I was wondering.
Period. You can hear me now. I'm here. Ha, ha. And I still got this do-rag on my head. Terrible.
Right, that's all right. I put a little rose on my lip, but I'm back. Oh, there you. Ooh, come on, color.
What?
You
Listen,
better go
you know
ahead.
I love a spot of color. Like, we're here. Boom. So, y'all, we are here. We are
y'all.
here. We are here. We so glad to see y'all. Y'all show us
Yes.
some love up in the comments.
Come on.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Like, it's super lit to be here tonight, y'all. Friend, how you been?
You know what? I am glad to be back. I'm glad to be around my people. I'm glad to share what we got going on tonight. And I am so super excited. This whole show is dope. Okay. So
It's the drums for
Fran,
me.
how you feeling today?
You know, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor, although it rained. It was really nice yesterday though. But today it rained and I was like, it's raining, but that's okay. Cause, it's all good.
That's all right.
But yeah, we here, I'm super excited about like super excited. Y'all, this is our first show of the season, so what a way to kick it off, what a way to start.
Right.
So we have a super, super hot show. Dan, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so today we'll be covering was it 3 major productions that was out in the last last month or so. We will be covering Aretha, we'll be covering Tina Turner, Billie Holiday, and a splash of Mahalia because that just came out. And the whole premise of this show, CULTish, a cult is I did the British terminology. It's a cult of people that are kind of weird and kind of always get together. And so throughout our experiences, we come together and we have idealistic theories that's the same. And sometimes we need to talk about it. So, these 3 to 4 movies is something that really sparked. I saw a lot of messages. We talked about it together in our group. So why not bring it to this group? This is what this group is for. And tonight we're going to do some deep diving and we're really going to look at the trauma associated with all of the lives of these wonderful individuals. Each one of these ladies played an important part in my life, in my understanding about myself. I have been in some of the shoes, not as far as entertaining, even though I think I could sing.
Oh, okay.
Like me and the dog think so, but I cannot. But they were so influential. They had, oh my gosh, the tenacity and the abilities to be trailblazers. Women I admire and I adore. So what other way to talk about it and have a little drink about it than spend your time with us with CULTish? And we are so very happy to be here with you.
Period. So, y'all, we're going to dive into the show. First of all, what we're going to do is we have so many guests, y'all. Like, this is beyond crazy to me that we have so many guests. Like, it's nuts. So, we just going to start bringing our guests in because they're backstage and they're excited. So, y'all basically,
come on in.
Baby, here we go. So, we got Miss Egypt and Marie.
Hey!
We've got Mr. Deshaun Simmons, and we've got DK.
DK.
We so lit.
How y'all feeling tonight? Thanks so much for joining us. Introduce yourself to our little group. We are so very happy to hear you, see you. We just happy to be with you.
Listen, I'm so happy to be here, to be invited on the show. We've been talking about bringing me on for the longest. Thank you
Have,
all so
have.
much. And if y'all see me turn this camera off and turn it back on, I'm going to sponge my little fro real quick and then turn it back on.
Grow up, grow up. I love it. So, DK, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, y'all? As you can call me DK or my name Dekevius, either one you can remember. DK is probably easier if you are a little inebriated, but whichever one works. I'm here in Chicago. This topic, I am excited. These ladies' catalog is literally like
Talk about it.
why I'm here and have cultivated me in so many ways, especially Sister Anime Bullock.
Hey,
So I am extremely excited to talk about some of these ladies and what they have brought to the table.
period. All right, next. Egypt.
Hi, I'm Egypt Marie. A lot of people know me by another name. We won't talk about her. I am here today to absolutely share in this conversation because, like DK, three women have a huge impact on my life. My career is a music teacher. That's my muggle job. When I'm not living my muggle life, I'm trying to work these stages and make it to Broadway because they're gonna open back up. Okay? And she's ready. So yes, I'm so excited to be here for this conversation because these three ladies are super dope, and I actually taught a full unit in my music class on one of them. So I got a lot to say, and hopefully some of my babies will be showing up to join in the conversation because they had a lot to say too.
Go ahead. Well, y'all, Deshaun, you said you was gonna sponge your hair, but you didn't really tell us who you were.
You're right. I thought about it once DK started talking, but I am Deshaun Simmons. Everybody knows me by Simmons now for the last about 2 years. I am also a teacher. I teach fifth grade. Now, I'm not an actor, but I like to direct the actors and actresses. I love Broadway. I love Broadway so much. I've seen Fred and Egypt actually perform before. Really good actresses. Danny, that's my girl. She's Aretha. I'm Glenn. Everybody know it. So I'm just glad to be here.
Here for it. Here for it. Here
Love
for
it.
it. All right, y'all. So we're going to get this conversation moving. As Danny had told you all, we are here talking about Black women in music and their trauma. And we came up with this after seeing these amazing performances by these amazing actors and actresses portraying these phenomenal women, as DK had just said. So we've got Aretha Franklin, Genius. We've got Genius Aretha Franklin. And then we have the Tina Turner documentary that was on HBO Max, as well as we have the United States versus Billie Holiday versus United States that premiered on Hulu, which were all phenomenal films and productions. And so, you guys, we're going to bring in our next guest because we have a special guest with us tonight. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about her because I love her, and she's also a Gemini. As well am I, period. I met her years ago. She was doing Motown the Musical here actually, she was doing Book of Mormon here in Chicago, and we met for the very first time then. But we got a little closer when Motown came to Chicago for 6 months, and I saw the show like 1,001 times. So I love her so much. I followed her career, and she has an amazing story with how her career has just flourished and bloomed. To see her grow into everything that she's done, I'm super excited to have her on. I'm gonna give y'all a quick little video clip before we go and before we bring her on. But ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Y'all give it up for Miss Patrice Covington.
That was
Some
such
hearts and
a
some
video.
like.
Welcome, Miss Patrice. Welcome, welcome.
I love that video.
I'll send it to you.
Super cute. What's up, friends? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a part. We're so happy to have you. I think Egypt went to go change her wig. So always the most. I love it though. Audience, oh, she's back. Oh, she got a whole new outfit.
You gotta go ahead.
Go
Definitely.
ahead.
Come
Y'all
on,
book my
Jane.
friend.
I cannot. Ooh, this is tickles me.
No, that's
I
for
love it.
360.
All
That's
the
for
way.
360.
Come on, quick change. I'm here for it.
So funny.
Patrice.
Got my hand
Patrice.
back.
I love it. I love it. Oh, I'm screaming. Like literally I got tears, y'all. Okay, so Patrice, we're so glad you're here. First of all, congratulations on all and everything that you are doing. As I said in the introduction, I have literally seen your career blossom and just open up, and it just makes me so proud to know you. I'm just like, she's so amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're super dope. So, y'all, we're going to dive right into it. So, for those of you all who are new to this or you have not seen Genius Aretha on the National Geographic Channel or Hulu, Patrice played Aretha's sister, Irma Franklin, her older sister. So, Patrice, first of all, can you just tell us, like, what was that like and how was all of that just amazingly? How did it happen?
How did it happen? So, a good old fashioned audition. At the time, I was actually singing background for Christina Aguilera, and I was in Las Vegas with her. And, when self-tapes come in, I got a self-tape committee here in LA. I'm like, I got a tape, come on. I got good people that's always ready, but I'm in Vegas with, like, band dudes. Like, how am I going to get this done? Now, now we figured it all out. We can all do it via FaceTime or Zoom or whatever. But at the time, I didn't think about that. So I'm like, how am I going to get this done? There's actually no way possible to get this done. I have no time. Christina Aguilera runs a super tight ship. So it was always a rehearsal, always a thing. And thankfully, my fellow background singer, his name is Matt Kusan. He was like, my wife's an actress. I know how to do a self-tape. You're hired. Come on. Let's go. So we came in and we did it in a Vegas hotel room. And we had just a few minutes to do this tape. We did the tape. And then I kind of just sent it and let it go. For the first time, I had never really sat there and overanalyze. Like, why did I look like that? Or why did I wish I would have said it this way or whatever. I truly just sent it and I let it go. And a week later, I got a call that I wanted to test me for it. And long story bearable, you guys, I didn't test for the show because it was just mine. Like they literally called, and I thought the call was to say, hey, your test is going to be tomorrow. It was, hey, they don't need you to test. You got the job. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And then we started filming in December of 2019. And then we got shut down in March with everybody else. We had 3 episodes done. And by the time we came back in September, it was super duper COVID friendly. We had COVID police. It was insane. Had, stuff stuck up my nose every day for 2 months. And then we created a little magic that y'all got to see.
It was indeed magic.
Thank
Magical, brilliant.
Thank
you. I got a black girl.
Yes, black girl magic.
That's what it was. Because it was that. It was that. It was totally that. So we're talking about trauma. And so Aretha itself, first of all, I love Aretha. She's like my favorite. First of all, she resembles my grandmother. That's the first thing. So I'm like, I've always felt like I've never had the chance to meet her, but I always
DK, stay with it.
so I always felt like she resembles my grandmother. So I'm like, But so first of all, amazing job to you and to Cynthia and everyone else that was involved in the project. It was phenomenal. Literally, like amazing. Literally, I was just like waiting, like, okay, the next day I gotta watch the 2 episodes. It was crazy. I was in Las Vegas on vacation. I was like, okay, we're gonna sit in this room and watch these last episodes because I got to see what's gonna happen.
Wow, thanks, friend.
So let me ask you a question. So because we're talking about Black women and trauma, I just felt like there was so much trauma that happened to Aretha, but of course she persevered through. Can you shed a little light on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we experienced on the television show, we had 8 hours to tell this woman's story, and we still don't have enough time. There's so much more. There's still so many questions with no answers. Partly because of what they've chosen to protect about their lives, but so much about, I felt like this show had so much healing in it.
It did.
For the Franklin family, for people in general who may have experienced that, for people who had to live under a certain umbrella because they were a part of the church or whatever. It is my hope and prayer that it did release some people and gave people the freedom to really be themselves. But, it started so young with her, so young. And it starts from the head, as we all see, I don't even know that I can really say that it started with her first pregnancy at 12 years old because of what we depicted the father as doing, before she was even a thing, when her mother was pregnant with her. So I just think it starts there. Like, energy is a real thing, and this woman is carrying a baby and going through trauma. And then here she is at 12 having a baby, experiencing things that no 12-year-old should ever experience. Not a good foundation. As much as like God is the foundation of her life, the home foundation was, was a little rocky. It wasn't steady. No pun intended.
Rock steady, baby.
I was about to say, I believe we can get rock steady. But okay, listen, that you just said shed so much light right there. So being that you got to play Aretha's older sister, what research did you do to really get into the role? Which, by the way, you really embodied Irma, like for real, like.
Thank you. Thank you. Because the story was really about Aretha, and ultimately I'm a supporting character. But also this character was supportive to Aretha as her background singer, as well as her sister. And so I actually did a lot more research on Aretha because I wanted to be what I needed to be as a sister. Now, it's one thing I know how to do is be a sister. I have a little sister. I am a part of the best sorority in the whole entire world, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I am a girl's girl. Yours is cute too.
I see you.
I'm a girl's girl. I love being a sister to my girlfriends, my best girlfriends. And so, that was, I wanted to know what type of sister I wanted to be to her, So, it's out that, they had a tumultuous relationship at times because they were both trying to get songs to chart and become an artist. And it's so weird how back then, like, everything was about a song charting. Like, if it didn't chart, then it was like nothing. Everybody I think there are songs that chart on my my iTunes that probably people have never heard of. It's charted in my house, It just
some of the stuff that makes the chart, I'll be like, turn it off.
Or like, I've never heard it.
Who are you? Who is this?
Who? Yeah. So, I think that is a big part of the reason why they had a little bit of, stankiness sometimes. But I think ultimately, no matter what happened in either one of their careers, she was a sister, a supportive sister, a background singer, a background supporter in every shape of the word. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I want to do a little parallel. So for those of you that don't know or you didn't see the video of Patrice, so Patrice was also, her and Cynthia have also played roles together before on Broadway. They both were in the Color Purple revival, which was phenomenal. Like,
Thank you.
again, I've seen it 5 times, y'all. I went to New York, saw it 5 times. It's crazy.
Thank
But it was just literally, I saw every Shug and I was like, Jesus, this is great.
Every Shug. Michelle.
Everybody. Okay. And it was so phenomenal. And just to see the work, for those of you that, if you saw the first version of The Color Purple, it was very like very Broadway, very like lights and smoke and mirrors and everything that you want from Broadway. But this version, the revival version, kind of stripped everything down, and it was like the actors actually had to tell the book story. And so for those of you that have never seen The Color Purple on Broadway or the musical version of it, it's really more so like the book and not necessarily the movie. And so Patrice actually played Squeak in that show. And she was phenomenal as Squeak. Y'all should have heard her high pitchness when she called Sophia a bitch. That was it for me. So it's so funny that you and Cynthia have played the same, in the same playing roles before. So I'm sure that relationship was there already because you guys were technically sisters already in a way. So what I wanted to parallel was the fact that the women in Color Purple also dealt with trauma, as well as a lot of the women that were in Genius, all the sisters, including Aretha as well. So the parallel to that is I really want to see like, how can you connect? You probably can't connect the two, but if you could connect the two, how would you see the two connecting?
So outside of being Squeak, I also covered Nettie. And I did do Nettie. Sometimes I love doing Squeak. I never was jumping up and down to do Nettie. But eventually, once I, started doing it more often, it became really special to me. And my name was Mary Agnes. That's funny. That every time a thing comes up here, I just want to read it. So I promise y'all, I'm
help yourself. Help
That's
yourself.
right.
It's a thing. Help yourself.
So as Nettie, their love was just it's unexplainable. It was a God love, right? And God was the only reason why Celie got through what she got through. And all she was praying for a long time was for her sister, right? And then when her sister finally came back, she was like, oh, like I can, or that she knew her sister was living, it gave her more reason to live, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, I failed to mention this a little bit before, but I think it goes here as well. I think that when you have trauma in your life, nobody, and if you have a sister and you're close, nobody will understand and feel like your sister. Like in the case of Irma and Aretha, I think that it's like, this is my sister, who's ultimately my older sister, and probably took care of me as a child, helped take care of me, who I probably wanted to be like at one point, who was there throughout all the trauma. Nobody understands it. I can't explain it to anybody like I explain it to my sister, or I don't have to explain it to my sister. Yeah. It's just a look. It's just a word, maybe, And so I think that the parallel there for me is that Nettie just understood Celie. Like she knew that her sister was still looking for her. And that's why the letter said, I'm not dead. She could have, even though she had stopped writing, she finally started doing it again because she knew her sister would never have stopped looking for her and supporting her and being there for her. And then to find out that her kids are there with her, just like Irma, she never stopped supporting her sister, no matter all the trauma, all the fame, all the shine, everything. Her sister was always there.
Yeah, definitely. Totally. That's a perfect parallel. I always quote the show whenever I see the show. When I always make a post on Facebook every now and again, I go, God answered Celie because she called his name 1,001 times. She said, "Dear God," I think it's probably 1,000 times within the script that she says, "Dear God, dear God, dear God." She kept saying, and even when she gave up on God, she still was like, "Dear God," still. You took my sister, Mister done beat me to death, and everything else.
In my unbelief. In my unbelief.
She still believed.
Now y'all watch it now. Watch it now. Watch it.
Be careful now. Be careful now. Be careful now.
Watch out. Watch out. Okay, Patrice, one last question for you before we let you go, because y'all, Patrice is heading over to another show in a second. But so
She said she for a reason. I'm just extra.
listen.
Both of you, I wanted to wear sequins.
You look beautiful.
Yes.
It's a party
good.
day.
Sequins are appropriate for any event. You look beautiful.
On a Thursday afternoon at 4:00. Why not?
On a Thursday afternoon.
Simmer.
You look beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so Patrice, as a artist, as a female artist, as a woman that's in music, y'all, by the way, you can go to iTunes. Patrice has some amazing music. She always does, like, okay, first of all, for Christmas, she released one of my favorite songs, which is My Favorite Things. And I was like, the arrangement of it is phenomenal. Like,
That's
go
my
get
favorite.
that. Even though it's not Christmas time, go get it. But she has one of my favorite songs of hers is Life Feels So Good Right Now. And like, yeah, that's one of my favorites. And so I downloaded it, I bought it, I watched the video. It's amazing. So I love it. Y'all go get her music. Look her up. Patrice Covington. Her music is there. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so one quick last question. So as a artist who's in music, as a artist who's in film, who's on Broadway, who's on stage, what does the Black women's movement look like in music for the future?
So I always, when people talk about my music, but like you just did, my own personal music, a part of me is a part of me honestly cringes a little bit, but it shouldn't, right? And the reason why it shouldn't, Deshaun, that looks like a Delta back there in your painting back there. I just noticed she's very fly. See, distracted. And I'm not even drinking. This is 100% mineral water.
You all right, babe.
But anyway,
Take your time.
I just I feel like my soul was different back then. Like my first time ever recording was in 2011. My life was completely different in every fashion. I was different. My body was different. The way I thought, the way I moved about my everyday life, everything was different. Like that Patrice 10 years ago, it was a whole rebirth that continues to rebirth all the time, right? And so I think that what makes me comfortable talking about it and sharing my old music is that my soul was different then. Like, because I listen to it, I'm like, oh, what a sweet little naive thing. You know, when I listen to it, I have had life happen since then. And when I sing now, my voice sounds different. And I think that it's because my soul is different. And so to answer your question, I do feel like Black women's music will continue to evolve as long as we are freed, as long as we know that we are the reason why everything shakes and moves on this earth. It will continue to be more powerful. It'll continue to be more intentional. It'll continue to be more free. We'll say more and more things that we never would have said before. And I think that it will allow other people to be as free as they need to be as well. And to draw from every experience in our lives. We draw from church, we draw from romance, we draw from trauma. These women, their trauma is their soul sounded like that. Why, when Tina says there's something on my mind, won't somebody please, you know that she was like, really, somebody please. You know, I think that they reflect and think about the things that they went through in their trauma and how they overcame. And it's the God and the soul in every single time they use their voice, regardless if it's church music, sacred music, or secular.
Y'all, this is why I love her.
Brilliant.
This is why.
Brilliance.
Brilliance. Jesus. My Lord. Like, y'all, now y'all see why I love Patrice so much. This is why. Like, you just can't get that everywhere. Like, you just can't. So Patrice, we thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
your
thank you, thank you.
time. Thank you so much. You're amazing. Y'all follow her. Her handle is Patrice Covington. It's her name, one word. Follow her on all social media outlets. Go buy her music. I'm telling y'all, it's not Christmas, but listen, that my favorite things. It's the arrangement for me. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Period.
That's
See,
it.
period.
That thing
See,
good. That
Thank
thing
listen.
good. That thing good. I listened to it. I made it all the way to minute 15. That thing good.
Thank
Patrice,
you,
thank
guys.
you, thank
I
you, thank
appreciate it.
you.
Thank
Amazing.
you so much for being here. Do you guys have anything for Patrice at all?
Thank you for sharing your gift. I will
Absolutely.
encourage you to go ahead. You are forging a path for all of us. And when I see you smile, I smile. You are
Oh,
beautiful.
thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I love you guys. See you later.
Yes.
All right, have a good one. Y'all,
So, yeah, baby, I think this is the perfect segue because that was good stuff, good genius, just amazing. It's
listen.
time for a drink break. You all may have seen our publications with the different names of the drinks, which will highlight the various songs from these beautiful, amazing artists. So, my drink choice for tonight, I am part of the Trader Joe's Black Girls.
You got my bottle.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. So, this is a rose, it's still a rose,
Mm-hmm.
based off the Aretha Franklin song. And I have a Shaw wine. This is from Brother Trader Joe's. I think this brother is only $5.99 because you know we like our good cheap wines, and it's 11.5% alcohol. And so that's my drink of choice. Miss Egypt, what do you have in your cup, in your
I
glass?
am having a rock steady.
Ah,
My rock steady is composed of Jim Beam bourbon,
oh my.
mm-hmm, a little pure maple syrup,
Can you pass me my sour
fresh
off
lemon
the
juice,
off the
Uh-huh.
uh-huh, and then a dash of cayenne. I left that in the kitchen. Little
Ooh, you
dash of cayenne.
spicy.
You shake it up, toss that over some ice. It's delicious.
You go ahead.
Well, I am having Uncle Nearest
Oh, I
Yes,
like that
right
too.
now
You better come on.
what's
because
inside
I like
with
Uncle.
him?
I'm sorry, say what now?
What's inside with him?
Pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
So Uncle Nearest with pineapple is what I'm having for tonight. So this would classify as a what is it?
Yeah, a
This
rock
is
Proud
steady.
Mary.
a
It'd be the
Proud
Proud
Mary.
Mary.
Yeah, Proud Mary.
Strong cocktail
mm-hmm.
because it's gonna knock me out.
You
Oh,
better
okay.
go ahead.
Help.
Well, I'll be sporting the Proud Mary tonight. You know, I got my Four Roses Kentucky bourbon.
Go
My
ahead.
Yeah.
producers, my producers haven't gotten my sours off the refrigerator
Oh,
yet. They
nice.
backstage, so we're just waiting on that. So that's what I'm sporting tonight.
You might have to start
So
passing out some times.
Better
listen,
find yourself.
Fine, 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 fine,
Just
fine,
said,
fine,
you
fine.
got to get your proud Mary on, and somebody ain't on top of their job.
they
I
ain't on the
might
game.
Someone's
be
not
time.
doing it. Someone's not doing it.
I'm starting to feel like Ike now.
You got to do what you got to do, sir.
Let me tell you, CL always had a good strong drink. CL was my favorite.
Hey, you
Courtney
know what?
Listen,
Vance.
I'll go with
Courtney.
CL. I'll go with CL. The sour's on the refrigerator on the top. I'll go with
listen.
CL. Definitely CL.
DK,
Oh,
what are you
Can
drinking?
you?
What do you got in your glass?
now I'm gonna show the bottle too, but y'all don't talk about me when y'all see this bottle because it was full.
Look at
Tonight
that.
I'm drinking brandy. It's Prince de Paris.
Okay.
So this,
That's a fancy glass. That's a
That's
fancy bottle. What is that, about $40?
You got
well,
some coin.
we not gonna talk about that. We just gonna sit here and enjoy.
Look at
But
his glass, y'all. Look at
It's
his
the
glass.
glass, y'all. It's the glass for me.
now
You
listen,
go ahead.
DK
see,
might be somebody. He might be.
you know,
This right here.
I sent my family members my the advertisement for the show, and they
Y'all
was
got
just
some
like, "We
ice
all
too.
know you gonna support Proud Mary," and so this is my nice and rough Proud Mary because
Hey,
Ooh.
this is I'm
I
be with
love
my yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Cheers,
it.
y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Again, we're going to stop for station identification. You are joining us tonight on CULTish, and we are discussing various movies that have been a cult hit. You know, something that you all have seen. A lot of us talk about. We got Aretha Genius. We have the Tina Turner documentary, and we also have Billie Holiday story, and a little touch of Mahalia. Mahalia just came out Sunday. If you all haven't watched that, go ahead and check that out. But we are here tonight discussing those ladies and the trauma associated with just being Black and female in the industry. You on mute, brother.
What happens when everything we know about something changes?
I tell people all the time, this is the best American story you never heard.
We're out hitting the pavement, talking to restaurants, talking to bars.
I don't think of myself as a whiskey salesperson. I want you to know his name.
Drink by drink, we're bringing this story to light.
When we have to step back through the pages of history.
It's so much more than whiskey. It's so much more than a brand. It's a movement.
When we have to make amends and pay respect.
We're honoring the greatest whiskey maker the world never knew. And it's beautiful.
And give credit where credit is due.
Uncle Nearest is the godfather of Tennessee whiskey, and the world needs to know it.
What happens? We do it. Uncle Nearest, it's more than whiskey.
You better walk off with that whiskey. I think he on his way to my house because that's my kind of man.
Hey!
At this location.
Come on over to my
house. And I will be near you, Uncle. I need an uncle near me. Come on, Nearest.
Come on over to my house.
Yes, Uncle Nearest, you are. It is.
Uncle
if
Nearest.
You like whiskey, that is a great whiskey. It ain't too much. We get a but you get a But
Somebody.
it's good, strong. It ain't wrong.
Pineapple cuts the little
Baby, get you some rocks. You can do it.
I ain't got no rocks.
Oh, you fancy. All right.
It was chilled in the freezer. Okay, we're gonna see what the people's drinking. Let's see. Dave is drinking a Proud Mary. Okay, I don't know who that is. RJ said we're gonna have fried fish tomorrow, babe.
Fried fish tomorrow.
I know her, and I'm coming over.
Hey.
So go ahead,
Danny,
post your drink. Oh,
namesake is drinking strawberry Hennessy margarita.
Okay, now that's a good time.
That's a good time. That's a good time. Come on, strange fruit for your time. Okay.
Come on, strange fruit.
And Adrian said he needs drink. She needs drink. Egypt's drink recipe again.
Yeah, we'll put that on in there.
I think I done had too much already. Okay, all right. Our other co-hosts are back from their time.
We got another wardrobe.
Hey,
I'm back being me.
Take your time.
Wait, she changed the clothes. That's hilarious. I love it.
Listen, I want y'all to, because these commercials are only 1 minute.
Oh,
Egypt,
okay.
Take your time. Joe Keisha is drinking a ginger tea.
That's
That'll
right.
classify. Listen, is that whiskey? Is it ginger ale or is it?
I think that's Tina Turner when she found Buddhism.
That's
okay, that'll work.
That's that I'm very familiar with that passage.
I think I heard someone ask for the recipe on the steady again.
They had asked for your recipe again to what you were drinking, love.
We are having I got Jim Beam, but you can use any bourbon. I usually prefer Elijah Craig. All right,
that's what you said. Because that's what you said.
That's the good stuff. You'll get you 2 ounces of that. You want 1 ounce of maple syrup, and you want 1.5 ounce of lemon juice and a dash of cayenne pepper. Shake that thing up, put it over ice.
Take your time. Take your time.
I'm sure there's something else out there in the world because I just be mixing my own drinks, and then I found out later in life that somebody made that years ago.
That's all right. It's new to you. That's okay, boo.
Oh, okay. I am your kitchen bartender.
We got some comments, y'all. We got some comments. Uncle Nearest is my friend Vicky's great uncle. She was a big part of the making of it all. Well, we thank God for her because this Uncle Nearest is all right for me. Y'all, I had went to Arizona about 2 weeks ago, and they had Uncle Nearest in the restaurant. I said, "Now this is the most whitest state in our dear nation."
My.
Arizona, you come through. Now let me tell you, I think if Uncle Nearest looked like Uncle that was on the what's his name?
On our sponsorship.
Yeah, Ron Isley. You know, then I'll be
You
married.
know what?
Nah,
I think Uncle Nearest is dead.
Listen.
No,
Yeah.
Stick with it, Danny. Stick with it.
Stick with it. Okay, I'm back.
He was a slave,
guess
friend. I think he's dead.
yeah.
I think he's dead.
He dead.
I think
I
Uncle
think he
Nearest
gone.
looked like Danny
He dead,
Glover or
dead.
somebody.
He dead.
Oh,
He dead.
Oh no.
I mean,
Yeah.
Y'all are showing out.
He looked like he give me real beloved vibes.
Oh,
Danny
that's all
Glover.
right.
what she say? Touch me on the inside.
It make me feel like a woman. Do you hear me? That was my part.
But why did I feel? I said, you know what? I can understand.
Yeah.
Y'all, I was watching that about 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what's going on? I had to force myself to go to sleep. It was too much going on. Beloved. We'll talk about that later.
All right, because we're gonna leave. What's our next
We
segment?
gotta get on topic, y'all. We gotta get on topic.
Right. We gotta stay on topic. Okay, y'all. So we coming up now. We are coming up on DK's favorite section. And I'm gonna let the video introduce it. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Really seeing that I had to make a change.
The divorce, I got nothing. No money, no house. So I said, I'll just take my name.
And then we tried to get a record deal. Nobody would touch Tina Turner.
She'd play anywhere just to make the money to get by.
My dream is to be the first black rock and roll singer to pack places like the Stones.
When she became successful, the past came up.
Her story reached so many people who felt like they had to keep their secrets locked away deep down.
It's hard. One of the worst parts of your life has been an inspiration.
No, I don't consider it a comeback. Tina had never arrived. It hurts to have to remember those times. But at a certain stage, forgiveness takes over.
You better.
Okay.
It's the changes from me. It's the changes from me.
You go.
That's okay. I'll get you somebody. Hold on.
Hey!
Hey.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Wait.
Y'all go ahead. Y'all better
let's pull back, y'all. Here come the shoulders.
Oh, don't worry about it. Hold on. Let me call. Hold on. I got something for you. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Y'all are cutting up real bad. Y'all are cutting up terrible.
Y'all go ahead. Tina Turner,
I got something for y'all.
This is your girl.
This is your girl, DK.
Yeah.
This is your girl and mine. But I'm gonna let you because I love Aretha too.
Right. All right.
But Tina, we like this.
Yeah.
When I tell you, being the age that I am, and of course her story was phenomenal to me. If you don't know, just Simmons, you go ahead.
It's this good time for me.
I'm really trying to be. He had a bass guitar, but you go ahead.
Hey,
listen,
y'all. Tina Turner, and then we're gonna turn it over to DK. So growing up, I grew up in a home where I had a Kojic mom, and my dad was Buddhist. My dad was for real Buddhist. I mean, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo Buddhist. And so, it was odd because I thought my dad was talking like Chinese. And then, I grew up in the Kojic church. They said, my daddy was going to hell. And so I didn't want my daddy to go to hell. And then I thought I was going to go to hell. But, when my daddy when we was with our daddy, we went to the temple. We went with my mama, we went to the church. And so you really didn't see too many Black people, even though my daddy was his own little minister in the Buddhist thing for a little bit. So when we saw Tina Turner, me and my sister was like, she don't Nam Myoho Renge Kyo just like the rest of us. And so, that was something. And then now when I think about it and her experience being a 41-year-old woman, her whole career, out of all the trauma she went through, it pivoted and she lived the hell out of those 40 years. DK, go ahead and introduce it. But if anything I took from this is that, y'all, this is still, life is still living. This lady accomplished so much. I could identify with her with the different stages in life, not like as far as discovering herself, not the trauma. I ain't never had no Ike Turner, but just
Thank
the
you.
trauma and revitalizing and thinking that you don't have enough to start back over. But she had tenacity to do it. I mean, I am looking forward to living out 40s. And if I could do it in the manner and the energy that she had, y'all better watch out for me, because I'm telling you, you'll never know. I might be stripping and stuff. You never know, because it's my time. But go ahead, DK.
So, Tina Turner and me. Um, so it's more than just I'm a fan. It's really a connection. I was introduced to Tina Turner when my mother passed away. My mother passed away in '96, and I believe the movie was out. I think the movie is what introduced me to her, and a cousin was watching it, and I watched it, and I was just like, "Who is this woman?" So my mother died at the hands of her abuser. Um, he shot and killed her, and later turned the gun on himself. And so, at that moment, seeing a woman that lived such a close life, as far as abuse to my mother, it saved my life, because I would sit and used to think at 9 years old, why didn't my mother fight back? Why didn't my mother, seek help? And, all of these questions, why did she have to be so weak? And all those things. And so, me seeing the Tina Turner story introduced me to her world, into her music. And I was a fan from 9 until I'm 33 now, until now. And any of my family members will tell you how much I love her. And it is that tenacity, it is that heartbreak, it is that fire inside of her that has not only helped me but helped millions. And even in the clips you showed, you saw Angela Bassett, who played Tina in the film, who I think should have gotten that Academy Award for that portrayal. Talk about, it's kind of sad and amazing that your toughest part of your life is other people's inspiration. And I'm from West Helena, Arkansas, which is maybe an hour away from Ike Turner's birthplace. And so, my grandparents knew of Ike and Tina. Everybody older knew of Ike and Tina. But as years went on, that became like a old sounding thing. But, to me, it was just like, I got to figure out who this woman is and how she overcame, because whatever she did, I need to look at it. But it also created empathy when it comes to situations like this with women. And it also created a voice for me to stand up for women, not only in my family, but even women that I see, get abused. So Tina Turner is someone who is a staple in my life. And it is amazing that she has been able to live, like she'll tell you, it is an old interview, and I sent it to Fred. She said, when did I retire? And she was just like, oh, it was 70 years old. Like, who has that staying power? But yeah, that is where Tina and I come. She saved me. She literally did.
So rich, so full, so much. I too, my mother didn't pass, but my mother was in a few domestic abusive relationships, and I will say that seeing them, and my father was one. But I'm so grateful that my father has changed. He has apologized to my mother and forgiven himself for his actions at that time. But when I did first see the "What's Love Got to Do with It," I did. My first mind went to my parents, and I'll say that for sure. Just like you, DK, it got me through. What's love got to do with it? It got me through. Tina herself got me through. I didn't get a chance to meet Tina, but I did get a chance to go to her final tour, the 24/7 tour. She hasn't toured since then, and she brought back the Claw. And those of you that are Tina Turner fans, you know what that is. But I love Tina. I've always loved Tina. She's not like Aretha, where I feel like she's my grandmother, but I feel
Right.
like Tina is an auntie.
She's an auntie.
She's an auntie. And I say auntie because you know you got that aunt. Everybody has that auntie in the family that is strong, but yet has that weak side for that no good nigga. And you be like, nagger, nagger, nagger. You done been through with his ass 2-3 times, nagger. Hey, take your time, DK. Take your time. So let's unpack this documentary. We can unpack what's love got to do with it, because that's something that's needed to be unpacked for years, but it hasn't. No one has ever done anything upon the sort. So let's talk about domestic abuse and the trauma that it causes.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing that the documentary, I think it was very good in portraying that as not her defining characteristic. You know,
Right.
because I thought it was going to just heavily focus on the abuse that she had with Ike. And if you see it, she got sick of those questions. You know, hey,
Mhm.
this is me. I am woman. Hear me roar. I am past that. We lived through it. The movie definitely, you know, broadcasted to higher heights. The trauma that her children had to go through with witnessing that, having a mother who was like, girl, you better stay with him because, you know, hey, this is what it is. And I even liked the little clip that they showed of her mom who had to have some trauma as well, just based on what we saw depicted in the movie, how the mom had a lot of trauma. So, you know, I just really kind of look at how all of that built her story. If she would have had another type of thing, then we probably wouldn't have got the product that she had. But she was able to survive and get through it. And so that's what I like about the latter part of the documentary, because
Mm-hmm.
it celebrated her for her way of enduring, and then there's life. Because sometimes we can just caught up when we think of Tina Turner, all we think about is Ike and the beating. Nobody thinks about all the things she accomplished, being 40 plus and killing it every night, touring until when she retired, DK 70.
70.
70.
So, you know, I hope that now we can celebrate the latter than the beginning, because what she did after having all of that was just phenomenal. You know, the way she
Yeah.
was able to continue to go on to persevere and inspire others and to really find herself. And, you know, one thing that I'm plagued with is the fact that, you know, with me growing up, and it was the difference between religions between my father and my mom, but my dad also suffered from having being in a house with an abusive parent. And one thing I remember him saying about Buddhism is that he had the freedom to have the strength to move on. He was able to get some answers that he couldn't get through the source of Christianity, but he was able to find it in Buddhism, and he was able to kind of center himself. And I didn't appreciate him doing that, because in my mind I was like, oh, my daddy is in a cult, he going to hell. But now, as I'm older, I really think about that. And if you need something to help you realize the strength that you have in yourself, to me, that's defined as finding the love. And who is love? God is love. So,
That's
you know,
it.
I just like to tie all that in together.
Right.
And it just made her the phenomenal woman that she is to this day. So I hope we celebrate her for her success and not really get caught up in her trauma, and learn from her trauma, but not get caught up and stuck there in the trauma.
Yeah. I to add to that, she is such a parallel in the sense of her spirit. And the reason why I say that, what she did, and this is, and I'm a counselor by day. What she did is what we call the work. She literally pulled back, took herself out of that situation, not only with Ike, but she took herself out of the situation of her own culture. Because one thing that we see, especially with Billie Holiday adding Aretha and then Tina, is that they are in the Black culture. And
Correct.
one thing that we do in the Black culture when it comes to perpetrators is that we protect them. And a lot of times we protect them with religion. And so it literally took her taking herself out of her own culture to do the healing that she needed to become what we know today. And I sit here and when I watch this documentary, y'all, I'm going on my third time watching
Take
this
your time.
documentary. Um, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at the young ladies that we see in entertainment now. Case in point, Derek Jackson's wife. If you know about him, he's the relationship guru. And you know, it came out that he was cheating on his wife. Um, and then we saw her in the situation. And I don't have all the data to diagnose the situation, but as someone that because it's on a social media platform, I could observe it. My girl was looking out of it. And so she even I put her own response out. And the difference between her and Tina Turner did the real work and is not covering up with religion. The thing of the and one of the questions that came up to me looking at this documentary and looking at the other documentaries and series and then looking at other people that I've known that's been in this situation is that we have literally done, and I'm a follower of Christ, we have done religion wrong. And the reason why I'm saying we have done religion wrong is that we have literally taken something that was used to oppress our own people, and now we're oppressing our own people. And it goes into the effect of the hierarchy and the patriarchy of men and women. And so now that we have seen this, and we've seen these three women go through literally hell to get to where they are, we have to honestly, as you know, for me, I would say I have to honestly look at my relationships and my following of Christ, and to really look, am I being an oppressor with my religion, or am I being a liberator? And liberation is what literally what they had to fight for. Because sometimes, and we talk, and I know we're going to get to Aretha, but a lot of times in the Black church, that's where Black men went to feel as if they were a man, because they couldn't feel like it back, out, in the world. So Tina Turner had to pull away from her own culture to save herself, because she really wanted to do the work. And so I look at Derek Jackson's wife, and I look at Sweetie, I look at the other young lady that was roughed up in the elevator. And I think about, let these women's stories be cautionary tales. They have to be, to save other people. And so that's why Tina Turner is so triumphant and such an inspiration for me.
You know, I know Tina. Can y'all hear me? I think I dropped
We
off.
can hear you, Sean.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying. At one point in the movie, when they were interviewing her at her home, they asked her about. I think Ike had gotten in trouble or something, and she was so disconnected with Ike, and she was focused on what she was doing, so where she didn't even know whatever situation he had gotten in. She didn't even know that it occurred. And at that moment, I'm like, man, this woman is really disengaged from what was then, and she's only focused on what's happening now. Because mind you, at this point, she's getting big. She's selling out stadiums, and she's totally disconnected. And I say that to say this: sometimes when we talk about these situations like this, yeah, some women can leave you physically, but mentally they can still be there. You know, we talking about now the modern times. They'll keep tabs on you, looking at where your location, looking at your Facebook, looking at your Twitter, your Snapchat. But at that moment, I'm like, she really did not give a damn about what Ike was doing, and she basically said, "Don't bring it to me. I don't care. I'm doing."
Well, okay, Deshaun had popped out for a second, but I hear you, brother. I hear you.
And you are
Um,
absolutely correct.
very much so. Very much
Yeah.
so.
When you done, you done. You're not gonna look
Yeah,
back.
she
You're
was
gonna
done.
say, "Be
She was
blessed."
done.
She
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 was
was
done.
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 I think that by that point in her life, she had absolutely figured out the reason for Ike being in her life. I
Yes.
think I think Tina was very aware. Like DK said, she did the work, but she was very aware that she had purpose and destiny. So I believe she was at a point where she understood that he was a season, and that season had passed, and she good. I'm good, love. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
always
being
wonder when we talk about, especially the abuse that she went through. I'm always wondering what's going through the male's mind. Like how are like even to down to like him forcibly having like sex with her, and the kids are in the next room when they can hear what's going on, and all this different stuff. I'm just wondering like what's going on um through the male's mind where he can continue those acts. And then I think DK said when you talked about these men have saw this before, they've seen abuse. And so maybe that's it. They think it's the thing to do to show that they are man. But I'm always confused. Like I go off my thinking, like how are you continuously doing these types of acts? You know, it's I don't know, it's crazy to me.
I
yeah.
think that the men involved in these particular situations, though, when we're speaking of Ike and speaking of some of the men in Billie Holiday's life, those were men seeking fame and didn't have enough talent to really have that kind of fame that they wanted. And to see a woman actually achieve something that you actually desire for yourself, I believe the machismo of it all is
Mm-hmm.
what continued them along the path that they were going. Yes, absolutely, we do have men who were raised in households where they saw abuse and so they repeat the cycle. But in these particular instances, I honestly believe it's a pure jealousy and a ego thing.
Yeah, and you know it in thinking of the time that these ladies grew up and when they came about, it was very one thing about our culture is that it's always been it's always been about a simulation. If it was good enough for white people, then it's good enough for us to do it. And so a lot of the times we saw like men had to set that dominance and that presence in their homes and in their relationships. And one thing I will say about all three of these women, they were all broken at one point, and they attracted broken men. Brokenness begets brokenness.
Oh,
And,
yes.
and so, Ike and Tina, Ike had, ruled with a armed fist, and he had his way of doing things, but he was also a broken man too. That is not giving him, the I'm not agreeing to what he did, but there is a little light shed on the victim and also the perpetrator. When you are broken, that's what you attract.
Absolutely.
And so when Tina, as Egypt said, when she became aware of herself, and she found Buddhism, she found Buddhism from one of the women Ike was dealing with. And so, her it
Give us a
became
history.
it became like a saving grace, and she literally came up with a plan within her maze of hell to get out. And so when you can honestly say, I'm leaving everything and you can have it, and the only thing that you get fought for is your name, and that's because I knew what she could do, because he knew her. He knew the possibility of her, what she could do with that name, and Tina did just that. And it was hard. And you saw as she went through that nobody wanted to touch her. Everybody was asking about Ike. And one thing we have to stop doing, when our people are in situations, traumatic trauma situations, stop bringing the shit up, especially if they want to move on. Stop bringing it up. It does not matter. They are here, they are alive. If they are safe, let's move on to the future, because what you're doing, you keep ripping a band-aid open that they're trying to heal. Let people heal, and they're not going to heal on your time. So she got fed up. She thought, oh, I put out a book that'll shut them up. Oh, that I put out a movie that'll shut them up. No, now she got a play on Broadway, and we're still talking about it. But it is a necessary thing that we have to talk about if we are going to protect Black women. Michael X said it best: Black women are the most disrespected, not protected women in America. And so, what she did with her body, she showed you what can be done in hell and what can be done on the other side. And that's why I will always salute my sister with this proud Mary.
That's
right. Did you all notice when they interviewed Ike, he kind of like tried to blame. He didn't take any of the blame. He kind of like pushed it all on Tina.
Yeah.
As if she caused her own trauma, her own pain, and everything. I'm on there like this.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
you can't be serious right now.
But you can't recognize that if you can't name it. And I mean, I'm not gonna try to be super save a whole Ike, but for him, he also held trauma. What
he did.
What he said numerous times is that I keep putting these niggas on. Excuse me, I keep putting people on, and they leave me. So he had to, assert some force, and he didn't understand what was wrong. You're successful. I did this. I took care of a kid that wasn't mad. I covered you. I brought you there. I made you who you is, and now you want to complain about it. You wasn't complaining when we doing this. Now you want to complain. Right. And so we also have to understand. I think DK, you said it best. You got to mess with a mess, and then it creates more mess. And how do you help that situation? So they both had to find a way to get out. Of course, what else are you gonna do? Because he couldn't see what he did wrong. I mean, till he died, he probably didn't understand why she was so upset. This is how it is. This is our culture. You left me. I didn't leave you.
Right.
I would have never left her. He would have never left her. He would have still continued doing what he was doing because that's what he knew. That's how he was being. Tina had to find the strength within herself to say, hey, I deserve more. And I don't want this type of lifestyle anymore. And that's just the way life has been. How many of us have had that friend and we see them in the same situations over and over again? You want to think they so slow, but you can't see it when you in it. I could not see what he was doing when he in it because that's what he was a victim of. Tina couldn't see it until she got out. And one thing that I remember my father sharing with me about Buddhism teaches from the aspect that you are living now in hell. This is hell. You create your own hell by staying in situations that you in. You have the power to remove yourself from that by changing your surroundings, and you will continue going through different lives until you get a chance to master that. And so you have to sustain. Buddhism isn't a religion, it is a state of being. And once you attain that state of being, you will have peace and harmony on earth. And so if she needed that to find the peace and harmony to remove her from that situation, baby, I salute her.
Yes,
so
narcissistic.
I didn't know because he'd never had a chance to have somebody to say, hey, life could be this way.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Anastasia. Narcissism.
We do have comments. I mean, the comment section is going on. Taylor said, Religion and God can be a great source in our life, but people use it as an excuse instead of a boost.
That's it.
That is really great. Let's see,
I also
Anastasia.
think when we talk about religion, a lot of people try to use religion, and I'm gonna talk about the one that I'm in. They try to use Christianity this is where the difference come in between Christianity and Buddhism. They try to use Christianity to control other people in their situations, and so there's the difference. And so when I don't know what was Ike Baptist coaching, what was it? I don't know, but
He was
but
Ikeism.
he was Ikeism.
He was
So
Ike.
he
Yes.
the 21st
I
he was
love
the
it.
21st Psalm, the 21st Ikeism. And
Yes, that's it.
when Tina when she found Buddhism, a light clicked on, and so she was freed from his thinking because he was thinking for both of them. And when she found Buddhism, that light clicked on. She is like, listen, it's another way, and that's where I think Tina. What was that? What about 1975 ish? Am I too far back?
No,
1970
that's all
something
right.
like that.
Go
About
ahead,
right.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I get them
1976.
numbers. I get them numbers. I'm a historian in my own, man. But around that time, it clicked on, and then she just went up from there. She blew up.
Yeah. There's so many parallels between the three women, and I know we got to get to the next woman, so let's do it.
Aretha, right?
We're you guys, thank you again for joining us. You are joining CULTish. I stopped for a station identification. This is a podcast dedicated to our culture. Cult is a group of people that have something in common and something alike, and they're sometimes a little bit strange. All of us know that we like things that may not be everybody cups of tea, but it's unique to us. And these movies that we saw about these ladies was a dynamic hit that had everybody popping. This is the venue where we'll talk about it. So we have discussed Aretha, we have discussed Tina, and now we're moving into the State versus Billie Holiday. I think that's the title.
Wait, I
of
don't think we
it.
discussed Aretha yet, Daddy.
Yeah, no, we didn't really discuss her.
We didn't really hit it, but we had a special guest.
We did,
back.
and she hit a lot. She hit a lot of stuff on it. But okay, before we move on from Tina, I just want to say this. I want to say so. There's a moment in the Tina documentary where Tina says that she turned her poison into medicine. There's a moment there that I think we all could learn from. I think that we all could. A lot of times we think of trauma. It is trauma. I won't say we think of trauma, but trauma is poison. Trauma is a lot. Domestic abuse is a lot. It is a lot to take in. And for her to, she was particularly talking about when she did the movie and then now the Broadway show. She was mainly talking about the whole idea of all of this. I remember an interview a long time ago, and DK, you might remember it as well because you're a Tina Turner enthusiast. She said that when the movie came out, she got a lot of fan mail. She got a whole lot of thank you. A whole lot of, oh my God, this is me, but I can't talk about it. She got a whole lot of that when the movie, and because she did not want to do the movie because she hates bringing up her past, as she says in the documentary. I hate bringing it up. I hate mentioning it. But what we don't realize is that a lot of times our poison can be medicine for other people. And so for her to do the movie, for her to do the Broadway show, she has relived that past publicly twice. So I understand what she means by saying, I don't necessarily want to talk about it. In the documentary, she said, yeah, that's in the past. They keep asking me to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up. And again, y'all, if you have not seen these films, if you haven't, Danielle just mentioned them, the United States versus Billie Holiday, the Tina Turner documentary, Tina, and Aretha Franklin, Genius. If you have not seen these, see them. And like me, as I told Danielle and Deshaun, and I told Egypt, it seems like since we've been on lockdown, there's been a lot of Black trauma movies that have come out. Just full of trauma. Black Messiah. There's just been so much. And I said, you guys, I am not going to do any more Black trauma. So after I watched the Mahalia Jackson story, I'm not watching any more Black trauma. If it's a Black film, it needs to be a comedy because I'm not watching more Black trauma. I'm telling you now. That's it for me.
No, they need to make a movie on how we built the White House, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial.
Listen,
We want to see all that.
I don't have energy to watch that either.
I don't. I really don't. I don't have the energy for it.
It's still going to include the trauma.
Yeah. And here's the thing. One thing about our race of people, we have to, change comes from within. So when Tina talked about poison turning into medicine, it started with her internal change. And that's why it has become medicine for so many people. So one thing we have to do is with Black culture and our, ancestors being, a part of American chattel slavery, we have to accept that and let it be a learning experience, not to dwell on it, but letting it be a learning. The Bible talks about saving manna, right? Talking about when you save manna, this will let generations know what you've been through. So we have to save that. That is a part of our history, but that is there so that we don't repeat it over and over and over again. So that's why I said we have to let it become cautionary tales.
Yes.
Because you don't have all the time in the world to make all the mistakes. I'm only gonna bump my head a couple of times, and after that, it's be like, wait a minute.
Shame on me. Shame on me.
After that, I'm going to get my pistol because it's either me or you.
I'm screaming.
And I'm choosing me.
Okay, so let me ask you all this. So let's ask the panel a question, and our viewing audience. Please put in the comments, you guys. We want to interact with you guys. We want to engage with you all as well. Tina said, as I just said, that she said she turned her poison into medicine. How can we turn our poison into medicine and find the silver lining?
One comment that I saw.
Okay, well, we'll start with Danny.
Huh?
We'll start with
One
Danny.
comment that I saw in the section is that our culture don't let stuff go. Reliving trauma is difficult. So how do we release it? How do we say, hey, this happened. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to learn for it. But I'm also going to be able to release it. I'm going to be able to discuss it and release it so that we won't continue to be victimized by it.
That therapy.
Correct.
And talking to someone, who's going to give you an unbiased, unadulterated opinion, is healthy. And therapy for the Black community is honestly, it's a fairly new thing because, we'll be like, oh, you just pray it away or just go to church. Well, church is good in a sense if you're in a good Bible-based church, but there's also God-created therapists, and you need to go talk to somebody. You are unwell. Something is off balance within you, and you need help. Go seek the help that you need so that you can begin the process of healing. When you heal yourself on the inside, everybody else will rise with you that is connected with you. The higher you go, the higher they go. The longer you live and want to live, your kids will know. Because honestly, your kids are watching. And honestly, they will more than likely repeat the same relationship habits that you are their first introductions to manhood and womanhood. So with that being said, you have a personal responsibility to show these young men and women how you are supposed to get help and overcome. And so that generational curses will not be generational curses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You got, again, we're here with Black women in music and their trauma. This is what we're here for. We are here for that. Um, DK
We have
just
some
summed it up.
comments.
We have a lot of comments.
We have some comments, yes.
We have a lot of comments.
And you all keep it coming.
Please
Because
keep it
this
coming.
is something that definitely we need to shed light on. And this is what CULTish is. We're going to talk about our culture. We're going to talk about what is, unique about us and our
Period.
hangups. We're going to call out our shit.
That's it.
Period.
That's what you got to do.
Platform.
Call it out.
If I got to be
Call
called out,
it
everybody getting called out. They ain't
That's
gonna keep
it.
on picking on me. Y'all getting called out too.
What?
All right, Fred, you want to go through some of our comments so that we can?
Sure. Okay. Wait. Okay, I just realized. Okay, all
I
right.
think my comments are delayed.
It's
I don't
okay.
see what y'all are doing.
So Eric says recognize that it's poison is the first step.
That's good.
That's very good. Eric, snaps to you. Poison, we don't, we get into these things, we get into these relationships, we get into these things, and we don't see the red flags. We don't see the notifications that this is bad for me. We feel like it's good. We feel like, oh yeah, I can do it. It's a thing, and it's not. Honey, recognize the red flags. RJ says the therapy is key. I agree.
And I want to piggyback off that therapy thing with that's my work best friend right there. That's my boo thing, RJ. That's my boo. I want to piggyback off her and DK with the whole therapy thing, because I think in the Black community, a lot of times we associate therapy with trauma and you needing help and you being crazy. And I need all my people like me, that look like me, to know that therapy is simply a conversation with an unbiased individual who has no stake in your life. You have no idea how freeing it is to talk to someone completely free from judgment and have them keep you talking. I mean, dog, I'm paying my therapist to keep me talking till I figure out my own shit.
Yeah.
Period. Every Thursday, 1:00.
Minutes, and she might say 11 words, and I get offline like, God damn it, that's what I was supposed to be doing. Got it.
This is what I pay you for. This is why I pay you $90 an hour.
Or she'll say, or she comes in with these quick little one-liners like, say that again and listen to yourself this time. But like, why are you coming for me and I pay for you? Stop it.
Period.
But that's what therapy is about. It's not about there's something wrong with me, I need to go to therapy. It's about being able to talk. It's about having a conversation.
Voice.
Yes. I actually prefer going to my sessions when I do feel like there's nothing wrong in my life. Like I'm extra happy. Those are the sessions I actually prefer going to, because those are the sessions where I get the work done, as DK says. Those are the sessions because I'm not in a place of feeling as if though I'm in trauma or feeling down and feeling depressed. I'm in a place where I can see happiness and I can see clear outlooks on things, which also makes me clearer thinking. So we can talk about the way I respond to things, and then I can find out things that trigger me. You can't hear about things that trigger you if you've already arrived into the session triggered. So obviously, therapy ain't about going to therapy because you're crazy. Therapy is about going to therapy so you won't become crazy.
That last statement was so loaded with triggers, and just being able to identify what triggers you. In my real world profession, I do a little bit of everything. And one of the most things I pride myself on doing is providing play therapy to children, younger children, so they can recognize the different triggers they have. What makes you have such big feelings? And then it's the pureness and it's the relationship that I can have with the youngest children to say, hey, let's recognize that this means something for you, not to downplay it. I had a little girl, beautiful little girl, and she was so happy, but she held so much in, and the only way she can kind of describe her trigger was a beautiful butterfly vomiting, because she had to make sure everything was pretty. How how many times have we been heard, girl, you gonna get through it. You got it. You know, you got the strength of God to see you through. But inside, I'm beautiful on the outside. I walk this life many times looking good. Y'all know I look good. But inside I was vomiting because I couldn't hold all of that. And then recognizing that I have different triggers. I have different things that makes me act certain ways and think certain things. And guess what? That is okay to think that, and you have to put it in an appropriate spot so you can handle that situation. So Egypt, thank you for bringing light to the fact of triggers. And I think each of these women has something that triggered them. And kind of segue into Billie Holiday, she has so many different triggers that she tried to recognize. And even having a man who was perceived to be good, she shunned him because she had to go back because she couldn't explain why she was triggered so much that she had to be around somebody that did not mean her any good. And she felt more safe to stay in a triggered state. And that right there just blew my mind. And
Okay, y'all.
think
As
about me.
y'all, listen. Danielle has led us into our next segment, which is the Billie Holiday segment. So, y'all, we'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Check out this clip.
Southern trees,
Get her off that stage.
bear strange fruit.
They won't let me sing nowhere. No clubs, no money, no nothing. You gotta understand, baby, right now I'm in a situation.
Look, you said we could beat this, Billy.
I need some now.
Blood on the leaves.
You're like a hammer. Come right back and hit harder than before.
She's singing it for all of us. Ain't no other Negro star bold enough to do it.
Black bodies swinging.
I'm being followed. I'm not gonna cower to no fizz.
In the southern breeze.
She's made something of herself, and you can't take it because she's strong, beautiful, and black.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
You think I'm gonna stop singing that song? You grandkids will be singing Strange Fruit.
Y'all.
Strange fruit.
Strange fruit. Take your time, Egypt.
You better go ahead with that flower.
Take all your time. You better do this quick change in 1 minute and 15 seconds. I'm here for you. You missed the stage.
You go ahead.
As soon as the world open up, I'm doing a show. So you can be.
So much.
Y'all should like Billie Holiday.
You told me to pull a curtain, sir. I swear to God, I'm gonna be 4 hours early. Like, what curtain?
Now you lie because you know you late to every show I do.
But Simmons, what we say, Egypt is our favorite.
She's our favorite. Listen, y'all. So y'all know how every director has their favorite. Egypt is my favorite. I will cast Egypt in every show. We did a show last year at the church, and I said, Egypt, I need you to do a show. It was a pandemic. I said, wear your mask, baby. Come on.
Wear your mask. Listen, I remember how we go way back to Black Folks Did It First.
Hey!
Didn't they do it first? Didn't they do it first? I'm trying.
Hashtag Who's Next, the musical. An award-winning musical, you guys. Award-winning musical.
Award. I saw it.
You better go ahead.
He's somebody.
Y'all got a little little Tony.
We got a little Tone.
Got that talking.
Oh Lord, Egypt done took me out, y'all. Egypt
now Billy. Let's talk about Billy. Billy was making me nauseous. And the reason she's making me nauseous is there's a whole lot going on.
So much.
You know, the police was after her. Then she had her addiction, and then she had a relationship. I'm like, woman, just stop. Hold on, slow down first. But I tell you, that was aside from all of that, she's an amazing woman, amazing voice.
Yeah, and to your point, Deshaun, about her voice, it growing up, Billie Holiday was almost as if an urban legend because of the song Strange Fruit. And I remember my first teacher was my grandfather. Anything Black History, my grandparents raised me. Shout out to Robert Sims. That's one of the things that he talked about was the poplar tree from Arkansas. Of course, we got poplar trees being in the South, and you know, some of the trees, that we have family land. We know that some of those trees were used to lynch people that look like us. Billie Holiday, it started back at a young age, especially in the film when it shows, her as little Eleanor, I believe that was her birth name, and how she grew up in a whorehouse, and her mom putting her out as she was coming of age to start, to live and to, make money on her own. And so, there was a quote saying, "You got to make these men happy." And so I know when a person put in the comments the codependency, that's when the codependency came because she didn't have a mother and her father wasn't around. So she had to use what she had in the ways that she had to get to where she, ended up as Lady Day. Um, Her addiction, her relationships with men, and I do want to talk about the men again, like in how white men used our own men to suppress our own women, and it's so heartbreaking. All because you want to be, the first Black African American, whatever. You will degrade, and the thing is, you're in the basement. You're not even on the upper level with these people that have the same title as you. You still in the basement, so they're using you to get to her, and yeah, you degraded her, and you also took advantage of her, and so did her, her husband and everyone else. So men played a huge part in this story, but she always fought back in a way, and that's one thing that I admire and will always admire about Billie Holiday.
So going into Billie Holiday, she had a codependency, as DK just said. She had a codependency on drugs, and I remember specifically in the in the, not the documentary, but in the film that she said um the guy was I forgot the guy's name, but the guy that was following her. No, I'm sorry, not the guy that was following her, but somebody asked her to sing "Strange Fruit," and she said, "No, baby, I'm not high enough to do that one."
She knew.
She knew.
She had a,
She's aware.
Listen. Let me tell you something.
She's
Billie
aware of that one.
Holiday, and I feel like this. I feel like not just Billie Holiday, but all artists know that you have to be at a certain place. And this is honestly, I'm not saying that drug use is true artistry, because it's not. But if you know a song hurts you that much, if you know a song sends you into a place that's so deep or that's so sunken that you need to load up on drugs to say, baby, I'm not high enough for that. That there let me know that when Nina Simone said the art should reflect the times. That moment, those words that she said, let me know there that yeah, this is true art reflecting the times, because at that time in the 40s, in the 50s, black men particularly were being lynched. And so even watching Genius Aretha, when Aretha went down south and in her moments, and when she decided to blow her hair out and become full Afrocentric at that time. Come on, y'all. Okay, somebody get another device on, because it's echoing. It's doing Teddy Riley. I don't know who it is. Mute. So at that time, it lets you know that these artists, it wasn't just about music or making money. They were true to the call that they had as artists. And I'm the same way, is that I feel like my art should reflect the times. If we're in a pandemic, I need to do something that reflects pandemic. If we're in a recession, I need to create something that reflects transition. But I need to reflect something that pulls me out and that transcends me up and through, not just we're here.
Yeah.
And that's what those artists did. That's what that's what she said. Strange fruit, black bodies swinging from the trees. If you get into the lyrics, y'all, listen to these songs. If you get into the lyrics, this is what she's talking about. So I feel like a lot of that, a lot of the trauma was through the racial that we were the racial hurt that we were experiencing as Black people. A lot of the trauma came because that's trauma too, and when we haven't really touched on that tonight, but a lot of that dealt with the trauma too. But they also dealt from trauma from self. But more importantly, they reflected the times. So I really feel like my question is then, as an artist, how do we reflect the times?
You know, it was something that you said that made me kind of reflect, and you said that she had to get high. Sometimes, even with the work that I do, you got to have the capacity to deal with a lot of stuff. In my school, we had the students, they heard gunshots, and so normally I am the trauma person. So do I want to deal with that every time? Do I want to be the person that has to unload this? I had to literally prepare myself to hear children talk about how it felt for them to run in, hide, and then guess what else? I had to get prepared to tell this to their families. And then I had to hold a father who is still affected by the 21-month-old who was shot in the head, and how he says, this is very scary for me. And then we're in a pandemic. As much as you want to hold and touch the kids, the little boy said, do not leave me, Daniel. You got to stay and watch me because you wasn't there to keep me safe. So if I know as a professional that I have a great responsibility to these children, just imagine these women in the songs and the way that they had to portray themselves in an era that they were shunned upon. They had to hold so much. If I could have took a hit or something yesterday, baby, I would have, because I had to numb myself, numb my feelings, and totally sit down me so that I can be available to give to the population that I service. And Billie had to do that through all the trauma that she had to do, getting her ass beat. She got up there and sang. I mean, flat out sang. The same thing with the Mahalias, the same thing with Tina Turner. They had broken ribs, bones, noses. Maybelline did the thing, and they performed in a state of not even feeling safe. So it's just not having the capacity. You got to numb yourself so much because you can't deal with you, because you have to give to somebody else. And that is just the amazing resilience and strength that they display. Should they do that? No. Should they have to do that? No. But sometimes we look outside ourselves to meet the needs of others. And that speaks to me. I'm not an artist per se, but I'm passionate about stuff. And a lot of times I have to sit down me so that I can help somebody else. So yeah, Fred, how do we continue to do this? And why do we do this? Because we love what we do and we love the people.
And there to reflect the times, and I think of like artists now who are starting to do as Nina Simone, excuse me, said, looking at individuals like Michael Jackson did it, Beyonce is doing it, and of course the three women we've highlighting tonight did it. They had to count up the costs, perform when they didn't feel safe, and also had to walk into the consequences. And that right there, it takes so much strength. You literally have to count up the cost because you're going to lose. And what to some people think, you're going to lose money, you're going to lose fans. Our cause as a community is not going to be the cause of the people. And we have to continue to be the voice for our people in our art. And you're going to be named a communist or an extremist or Marxist, and these are all things that white people that I've known I've had conversations with have said about individuals in my culture. And I'm telling them it's not like that. The thing is, we want to survive and live. And the simple fact that, you don't want me and my people to have a fighting chance, I don't know why we're even friends in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, and getting into the relationships, if you're with an individual who don't wants to see you liberated, who doesn't give you reciprocity, you shouldn't be with that individual. Red flags and flags are red flags and flags for a reason. And they will always present itself.
Yeah.
In every documentary or in every interview, you will always see them go back and say, yeah, I saw that and I didn't know what it was, or I felt something. It wasn't right, but I didn't pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. We have to pay attention, and we have to garner in the gall to go out and do what we have to do to reflect the time.
Yeah, I go back to what DK said. If you all notice, if you know anything about history, white people will always try to tell our story. Okay, so he talked about them calling us Marxists and extremists and all that. They didn't just start calling us that in 2020. Yes, they called Aretha an extremist. They called Billy an extremist. We want to go even further back. They called those people extremists in 1800s. So what Billy, Aretha, and Tina, what they were doing was they were doing two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They were singing and they were trying to liberate our people through their singing. And so I think what we have to do is, because if anybody know me, I'll get pissed, I'll get mad, and I'll go head to head with any white person who says otherwise. But I think sometimes we need to kind of shut them out.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been saying lately, shut them out to keep the main thing. Because most of the time they just talking anyway. And what we saw Billy do was just that. In the movie, I think she had a show one night, right? And they had the cops in the back waiting on her. You're not about to sing Strange Fruit out while we here. And what did Billy do? She sang Strange Fruit, and they snatched off the stage. She didn't care what they were saying. She was doing what was right for us. And I think what happens is if we stop letting those types of people try to create our narrative, create propaganda of our names and our situations, we'll be in a better place. Or we'll continue to move to a better place, because we are moving, making progress. Not there yet, but it was those like Tina and Billy who got us to this point.
Yeah. I was wondering if anybody had noticed the correlation of these artists and how much they enjoyed the stage and the applause, and how that relates to the formative years of their life living in a state of rejection.
Mm-hmm. Listen,
right? You have Billy, who was put out the whorehouse, like, you got to make it on your own. You could do it. You got Aretha left at an early age by her mother. You got a philandering father, maybe, depending on whose story you hear. You got
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and keep on moving past that.
absolutely. You got Anime left down in Nutbush while mom actually took another kid but left her. So this spirit of rejection that sits on them, do you see that correlation to how much they love the applause and how needing that applause is what kept them in the industry and what kept them somewhat tied down to their trauma? Like, especially for Billy, I really think that Billy's real drug was the audience. I really feel like the real drug was the audience. But there was also this guarded feeling inside of her of thinking that everyone was not accepting her. Because I love the way that Audra plays the role, because I think if you look at Billy in happenstance or how people portray her in history, you get this regal, elegant woman. Now, I knew before I watched the film that Lady Day was something, okay? Lady Day was fine, okay? I knew she had a mouth off the chain. I knew nigga was one of her favorite words. I had already knew these facts before I watched the movie. But Audra did her thing, giving me all those nuances. But I really do think that she thought, as a professional, as a singer, and knowing that she wasn't as refined as some of the other women who may have been on the circuit, I think she felt a lot of judgment and couldn't enjoy the applause unless she was high.
Yeah. I mean, going to the point in the movie when the black reporter asked her, why don't you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to behave. Why don't you act like Ella Fitzgerald and such and such? And she was like, yo, I said, and she said, like, the hardest criticism comes from my own people. I need help. She literally asked for help, but they were too busy.
We're also talking about the same time when we had white superstars and celebrities who had been found to come into addiction, and they were sent to the Betty Ford Center and to these nice drug rehabs and getting the assistance that they need. They were not being sent to prison. Love me some Julie Garland, but Julie Garland was on that too.
Hey, take your time,
baby, somewhere over the rainbow.
Don't you can't say nothing to me about Judy, okay? Because ding, ding, ding with the trolley. You can't tell me nothing about Judy. I love her, but she was on that too.
Now, Egypt. Going back to your point, we have a lot of questions. We have a lot of statements in the comments, and I'm going to jump to that in a second. I will say this: the drugs, and you said the applause became an addiction. What a word! No, I'm for real though. Now, when I say that, I'm for real. What a word! Because and it's so funny that you brought this up, because I had thought about this in a point and I didn't put it in our notes, but Jennifer Lewis in her book, if you have read The Black Mother of Hollywood,
that's my favorite book.
Listen, I've got it on Audible and I've got it on regular book version. Okay,
I will put that chapter 2 on just so she can talk to me about the whore and the chicken wing in the back of that.
Listen,
just to
always check the meat.
The meat.
Yeah.
Every time I check I'm interested in hearing like the trauma she's endured, because I know it's there.
Read the book. It's in the book. It's in the book. It's in the book.
Read the book.
It's definitely in the book. Download it. It's worth it.
Jennifer Lewis was drunk in every movie she has done.
Don't do her.
Every single movie. But I love my.
Don't do Jen. Don't you do Jen. Don't you do Mama Jen. Don't you do her. Egypt. So the point that I was getting at is the applause. Jennifer Lewis talks about it, and I've read a lot of memoirs. I've read a lot of biographies, and a lot of people that are in entertainment. The applause is an addiction. I am one of them. The pandemic. I hate using the phrase but the pandemic itself has deprived me of applause. I enjoy applause. I love applause. And people always ask me, "Oh, you should do film." And I said, I don't want to do film because there's no applause. There's the applause of the 8 people that are on set. But there's nothing like that
Nothing like live theater.
There's nothing like live theater. If you applaud, you laugh while I'm on stage, I'm gonna be a ham. I'm gonna ham it up more.
You know it. Don't you yell out nothing. Don't yell out nothing.
Don't you yell out, you acted. I'm going to ad-lib all of my lines, and they're gonna find me and deduct my check.
Who's acting? I'm acting. Oh, I'm finna cut up now. They say, you want a cartwheel right here? I'm finna do a cartwell. It's not even.
Listen, I had flossed on stage. I had the little, the kids that do the floss. I did that on stage one time, and it was because they loved it and they were laughing. So for me, the applause does something for me. So when you said that the applause, there was someone else, Angela from the Love and War podcast. She said the applause almost became an addiction in and of itself. It's not an almost, Angie. It is. I'm gonna highlight the comment. I'm sorry. It's not an almost. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. The applause is just as good as a drug. It's just as good as sex. It's just as good as alcohol because it uplifts the performer. And those are the same three things that alcohol and drugs do to oneself.
Watch this.
It uplifts you.
I'm finna prove it was an addiction. Billy's laying on her deathbed, quite ill. What does she ask Fletcher? What the critics say about the last album? Girl, you about to get on up out of here.
You about to die, baby. You about to die.
You about to get on up out of here and you want to know what they think about the music. That's because that was the true drug for her. In that illness, laying in that bed right there, what she wanted more than heroin, what she wanted more than a man, what she wanted more than her mother is to know that the art that she had created was accepted and loved by somebody.
And
I teach.
I would also say outside of that, that's where they felt at home. That's where they created their home. This is where you know what? When I'm on stage, I'm not finna get my ass whooped. When I'm on stage, I'm not doing drugs.
None of that matters.
I'm using my purpose and I'm sharing it with people that I don't know, but I know. And honestly, I don't even know if they love me or not. But I know that they have been affected by the vocals and the words and the melodies that are coming out of my mouth and from my band. I'm creating an experience. And so I am free on this stage. And so let me have this addiction. Let me have these applause. Let me have this moment in this spotlight on this stage. Because I know once I leave that stage, I'm going back to a place that I am trying literally every day to get out of.
Yep. Billy said that again too when she got out of jail and she was doing the Carnegie Hall special. And the new manager rolls in and he says, "You high?" And she responded, "Of course I'm high. Of course I'm high. What else I'm supposed to do to deal with this trauma? How else I'm supposed to give the people a show?
How?
Of course I'm high.
How?
Well, she took me. I'm sorry, y'all. I watched that one about 20 times.
Listen, I watched it twice. It was very traumatic, but I watched it twice.
I think I'm gonna watch Billy tonight. She on my list. I'm gonna go ahead and throw her on the list tonight.
Watch it during the daytime in the noon.
Well, I gotta go to work.
Okay. But you know what? We all have that. For her, it was singing. I am one that will get lost in my work before I get lost in my life.
Listen,
it may not be an applause. It just may be. And I'm guilty. I stopped saying this to my teachers. It's like when you come through the doors, your world stops because it's not fair to them. Like you come in here as utopian creation because we really do create our own safe haven, and then you go back outside the doors. You're like, God damn, I'm back to the real world, and I can control my environment as a teacher. I can set up, I can provoke, I can make provocations, I can control what I got going on. And for those ladies, the way that they were able to master and command the stage. If you all get a chance to watch Mahalia, one thing that she just kept getting shunned upon early in her life is because she sung with a little, and I thought I had to go back and listen to her music because I thought she was just but the way they wanted her to slow it down and the way they wanted her to do it, she was so dang on jazzy that
She was.
that the Clark sisters, all the rest of the women who've been through that, it wasn't until they came into their own and they had a chance to get on the stage, and then once you out the Kano, they did stop her, with the police. They had that, but she still sung what she wanted and did how she wanted to do. And again, Angela said that's where you're appreciated. I can get lost in my work because I know I will be appreciated. They can get lost in their song because that's where they know they are appreciated. So think of ways that you have gotten lost. Where do you find safe haven for yourself that you feel appreciated? Do you feel that way in your normal life? If not, what can you do about that? Who do you have to support you to get through that? Those are the type of conversations and the dialogues that we need to have so that we won't, depend on a clutch. I'm about to give me an applause button because I think I need to go with an applause. So I won't be looking for somebody else. Like, was Uncle Ernest?
We employ
I
applause.
got you, friend. I got you. Give me a second. I got you. We're gonna
We
get some
employ
applause.
those at that Chicago Public School I work for our virtual meetings.
Uh-huh.
We employ applause tracks. We have a stationary DJ for certain meetings, like
where is this?
Out of nowhere, you literally can get a pew pew pew.
Yes.
And she did that MTSS. Pew, 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 pew. We so bored.
And we all need to surround yourself with people that make you feel appreciated. Talk in your families, articulate, this is how I feel loved. This is how I feel appreciated. So I won't go into myself. And those are some things that we really do need to address and talk more about. How do I feel loved? And your love ain't really feeling. Now, one thing I enjoyed about Billy loved on everybody. Baby, when they was in that park doing a promenade, and she walked upon the other blue dude, and they was like, let's leave these snow bunnies. I was outdone. I said, y'all better go right on ahead. Billy could get her some loving. Now, did she make the best choices in her loving? No, but was she in control of her loving? Absolutely. So, that's one thing that I can applaud her for. Even though she went through what she went through, she still has some control. Because she told Mr. Soldier Boy, which was fine, going on, I don't deserve you. I'm going to ruin you. So as much as you want to say she was victimizing people too, because she had his nose open.
Absolutely.
The dude even took a little a hit of heroin.
It was when he got high for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was when he got high.
He saw her. This Soldier Boy didn't even see himself. He saw Billy. Billy had something in her snatch case. Baby, now that was the strange fruit. I want to see what that strange fruit was. Nobody talk about she had that going on, but she commanded.
That was the strange fruit. That was the strange fruit.
But you know what? Even when you look at Billy, she could command a room. She commanded every room that she was a part of. So that makes her. That's what makes her.
Stop. Every woman on this panel, Aretha, Tina, Billy, they could command a room.
All of them.
Even Mahalia, she commanded.
Even Mahalia. Mahalia said, no, I ain't recording for no white people.
That's what and bring me my money in cash.
Bring me
all cash.
Now listen.
Talk about these black women wanting their money up front.
In cash.
I can't
we get so offended. We get so offended nowadays
when people want their money.
I want my money up front.
Baby, and took all the recording time. Yep. I mean, she said, you said 2 hours.
Listen.
You said, which 2 hours? I said, my Lord.
Okay, she said, you didn't say which 2 hours. Baby, she had to be in the studio 12 hours, baby.
With a clutch on the top of the piano.
Javante said, even Dorothy Norwood wanted her money up front. Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Dorothy, Clara Ward, all of them say, run me my money. I don't trust nobody.
Baby, Clara Ward had on the fur. You got on the night, baby, and Aretha for series.
I mean, take that. Aretha didn't play with them. She got on that piano. You're not doing the right move. I love that. Don't
Angie
make
said they knew that they were worth it, y'all. And that and no, y'all, for real. And I posted that last night. I posted I'm worth it. My brother Javante Patton has a song, and he's actually on this live right now. He has a song called Worth It. And he says, God thinks you're worth it. And for me, that's the thing, is I'm worth it. No shade. I'm worth it. And I felt that that these three artists, they were worth it. They demanded their cash up front. They, wa-
Awareness.
they wanted to take care of their band. Aretha wanted to take care of her sisters because that was her background. And they said, listen, I need this money up front and I need it now. I don't want it after I sing. I want it now. And the thing, and that's one of the questions that we had all posed. Black women and demanding their coins up front. Let's just tap into that for a second.
We've been done dirty so many times before. Folks
Take
ain't
your
got
time. Take
time.
your time, Egypt. Take your time.
If black women are nothing, they are a quick study.
Listen.
If we are nothing, we are a quick study, honey. Fool me half the time, not even once. Fool me 0.5 times, and I'm out. We are a quick study. We learn lessons quickly. We learn behaviors quickly. This how you treat me. This what you do. I got it. Got it. And nothing you can do after that can disprove it for a lot of us. You've shown your true colors. I know who you are. I have an understanding of what's going on. This how I'm gonna do it from up front all the time.
Diane Jones is, you right. Ma Rainey didn't play with them either.
Listen.
You know,
Now listen.
My Rainey said she needed Coca-Cola, baby.
Baby, that Coca-Cola and that girl, she had to have her peoples in place. Now, when did we change? Because I'm a victim of it. I'd be like, you just give it to me if you get it.
I got that one too.
Don't worry about it. And now I'm fresh out of donations. I got to the point where I ain't got it. I'm fresh out of donations. I don't care if you need $1. I got a lot of dollars. You need my dollar. And then they make you feel bad. And why do we have to take that ownership that we must give? And one thing I did applaud these ladies is that in their professional life, they was on top of it. Now, I am a great professional. I could tell somebody how to do my personal life. Baby, I need a map.
Listen, I need an assistant.
I need assistance. I'm struggling, but professionally, I can advocate for all kind of budgets. My budget and being frivolous with who and how I give of my personal self, I am not as careful with me as personally as I am with my professional. I don't play with Danielle. Danny, I have to learn. And that's one thing that I admired their business. I admired how they stayed on top of it. Billy was a whole vibe. And they were so strong. And I really did honor that. Tina, knowing that I'm going to keep my name. Why was it important to keep her name? And why after everything else, you can have all of this? Because that was a business move.
Can we go back to Aretha? Because
smart.
They kind of had some differences. And Aretha's story / trauma, it kind of mimics what we see. It's because she was a part of the church. And here's what I mean. So you think about Billie Holiday. I don't necessarily think she was a part of the church. I don't think I saw that in the movie, correct?
She was Catholic.
She was Catholic, right? So she was Catholic. Then you had Tina, who then transformed to Buddhism. Then you had Aretha, who was a part of the Black church. Now, the reason I'm bringing up this scenario is for a specific reason. Aretha was so damn mellow every time you saw Aretha, to the point where you couldn't tell if she was going through some or not. And I've seen clips on YouTube. I would watch her different, interviews and her performances. I'm like, she's so mellow, but all hell was kind of breaking loose in her personal life. So I'm starting to question, like, what was Aretha's mental capacity by the time she died with all of that. See, well, Billy, she eventually died, so she didn't get to live that long. But then you had Tina, who had an escape, right?
Right.
But then you had Aretha. Like, where was there a turning point? I'm wondering for Aretha.
You know, one thing, Aretha never left. Aretha never left her foundation, so to speak. She literally just stayed around and and dealt with it. And like you said, Tina had created an escape route. The difference between getting your ass beat, all of that kind of stuff. But when you have had your first child at 12 years old, your second child at 13, you're seeing your dad and saying one thing in the pulpit and living another life outside of it on a Saturday night. It creates, this is what this world is. And, and again, we have used religion and God. Well, the black church, I think the black church is a religion within itself. We have used the black church has scapegoated God to be like, oh, just you gotta forgive, and you forgive and you forgive again. And sometimes we have forgiven to the point that people have died and people have literally lived in hell. So I think her turning point, I don't know if there was a turning point because, she came out with her own memoir, but she was after that Time magazine interview, she became real hush about her private life and what she wanted to put out. So I think her turning point was, in her work. If you look at these women's work, especially I'm highlighting Tina and Aretha, you can see the turning point in their music. There's a part in the Tina Turner documentary where she's singing Respect, which is so crazy. And she goes to talk about how women don't get respect and that men can go out and do anything that they want. And now it's time for women to I'm going to do it too. Knowing that Ike Turner is directly behind her.
Yep, sure did.
So if you literally look at her catalog of work and performances, you will see the turning point. If you look at the catalog and music of Aretha Franklin, I don't know so much. I'm not really sure so much because she always stayed where she was brought up. But I'm not. That is a very good question that you pose. And I think maybe a lot of it was done within her personal circle and her personal life of her turning point, which we don't have, we're not privy to.
Yeah,
So
I was. Go ahead, Fred. No, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. You go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying because I saw one interview. What was the talk show host back in the 90s? It wasn't Oprah. What's her name?
Sally Jesse Raphael.
No, Sally.
Hey.
The black. She was black, and she had that Southern Belle accent. Her name escapes me right now. But anyway. She was on the show. Not Mother Love.
Mother Love.
I'll get that name for y'all in a minute. It'll be random. Okay. I'll get it for y'all. But she was on a show, and she was talking to Aretha, and she said, now let's talk a little bit about your father. And Aretha immediately said, I'd rather not talk about that right now. She said, that's fine. And they moved on. Like, they kind of like just moved on. Like, they didn't even mention her father in none of the interviews. So it was just interesting seeing that because I know the movie didn't show showed some stuff, but I know it didn't show what it needed to show to put the pieces together.
Okay, so let me ask this, you guys, as we're beginning to wind down and wrap up. Um, what I've noticed is that uh, all of these women seem like they had a no good man. Tina,
Why did everybody
Aretha,
take a deep?
Didn't everybody?
me. Uh,
Oh, I can't wait for that document.
hey,
Don't y'all start. I don't want no parts of that foolishness.
DK, don't you start now. Don't you start now. Don't you start. Don't you start. Aretha, Tina, Billy. It seems as if watching all and Mahalia. It seems as if watching all of these series, these documentaries, these films, that they had a man around a man. I won't say no good, but they had a man around them that per se was ready to in the beginning do everything for them, but in the end it turned out to be a different situation. We see with Aretha, she went through a lot of husbands, but Aretha was very headstrong. She's very strong, very I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much you can say to me. I've been through a lot. We look at Tina Turner. There's Ike, who she then persevered over in time. Um, but I will say, even early on, Tina was very strong in herself to say, "Okay, listen now." But she stayed because that was her husband, or that was the anchor of her career. Then you have Billie Holiday, who Danielle's back. You have Billie Holiday, who then had the Soldier Boy, as well as she had multiple husbands the same way. So even my viewers that are watching, if I would love for you all to comment, I would really love for you all to comment. Um, these women, it seems as if they had these men around just to have them around, and not that they were giving any value, but they were good for sex, they were good for company, they were good for conversation. Um, how do we necessarily deal with that when we have people who, as I would like to call them, leeches? They leech onto us. They leech onto our career. They leech onto our being. They leech onto everything we have to make themselves better.
Yeah.
How do we dissect that? How do we tear that apart? Let's unpack that.
I think the first step is recognizing it, right? Like that goes back to what I spoke on earlier with that spirit of rejection, right? You and what I think it was DK spoke on earlier of brokenness begetting brokenness. So it's recognizing when someone is not for your benefit as much as they are for their increase. Because like you said, we wouldn't want to necessarily call them no good men. I think they may have started out with good intentions, but the precipice behind those good decisions were for us. And then I think that too could also be a part of the times too as well. You know, women weren't so in either of these decades and place in history that we're speaking of. Women weren't supposed to be breadwinners and be the said leader anyway. So I think that may have played a little bit of the hand in it. But right now, if we're talking 2021, how do we watch those people who are coming to suck off of us? We have to recognize that. We have to recognize who is for us and who is for the celebration. I think is that PJ Morton? Yeah, be careful of those people who always want to show up after you get your awards. I want the song pop in my head. You know what I'm talking about.
Correct. You correct.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's like that. We have to be very mindful. We have to watch people and how they respond. Like for me as an actress, and when I do things, I'm not worried about who logged in and who showed up to see this. My friend Yosef knew that he couldn't make it. He left me a 3-paragraph response on the promotion. Like, I can't be with Black women in music and trauma. We have to talk about specifically. I mean, like, the boy is super smart too, and he has like a musicology degree. So it's a really deep comment. But those are the people that I'm always looking at. Those are the people that I'm focusing on, because they don't care about, am I going to be successful? They care about contributing to the conversation. They care about contributing to what I'm trying to provide. It's okay if people don't come to all my shows, but when people say, oh, I told so-and-so to get a ticket to such and such because I saw what you posted and that's right what he needs to be looking at. A lot of people didn't come to hashtag because they saw the material and was like, I don't think that's for me. But a lot of my people sent other people like, you should go check that out. Egypt gonna be tap dancing. Go see it. It's gonna be good. I don't know why they showed up for that. It was foolishness. But but those are the people that I'm always looking at. I'm looking. You muted, boo.
Oh, baby.
Fred yelling at me. You muted.
Shit, you tapped amazingly.
Thank you, boo. I just be pretending. What I am is a very good actress, okay? So I can act like I can dance. I can act like I'm a very good actress. I can act like I can dance.
Okay. And to add to that, it's all about awareness. There's a point in the genius Aretha Franklin story where she was trying to find her way from Colombia, and she was at a party, and the guy said, you're going to find your sound when you realize you are Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You have to become aware of who you are and what you were created for. When you know who you are and have some type of awareness, listen, y'all, what I'm doing in my 30s, I'm not who I was in my 20s.
I'm trying to tell you.
And I know when I get to my 40s and my 50s, it's going to be different because I'm gaining an awareness of myself. And when you gain that awareness, you can spot a fool a mile away. And when you're able to see that, you know how to put people in the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what these women had to do. They had to fight for who they were, find their sound. And the thing is, it's so funny that in the creative world, you got to find your sound, you got to find your niche. And it's honestly way more than that. It's really finding who you are. And then once you find out who you are, it translates to your body of work.
Absolutely.
So that awareness is key. That awareness is key. You gotta become you. Tina said it wasn't because Tina never had arrived.
That's right. That's right. I did. That was one of my favorite lines of the film because I just knew I'm one of those people who think they can write for TV even if it is a documentary. What they finna say?
Good time.
I know what they finna say. Okay, Netflix needs to hire me. I got the scripts. Okay, especially sitting at home on this panorama. I ain't been doing nothing but coming up with stories. Nothing. I got the scripts for them.
She said panorama.
I really thought I thought Tina was gonna say that she's not making a comeback because she never left. I thought she was gonna hit us with some little LL Cool J. She's been here for years, and when
but she has,
and she has, right? And I was gonna be like, "Come on, Auntie, right." But when she said that, I had to pause the TV, like, "God damn!"
Me too.
And some of my favorite songs are from when you wasn't Tina, girl. So, God dog.
That's because she did her work.
She did the work, DK.
Now listen, y'all, I did all kind of work. I'm very aware of myself. I have arrived. If y'all go on my page, you will see I'm on a plug-up with somebody that has arrived. And I still fall for what DK called as foolishness. What is wrong with me? Am I broken?
No.
Do I just enjoy is it some kind of power that I like to assert, which is talking to stupid people that I know I don't want to waste my talent on, but I love myself. I'm aware I'm very successful. I got some credit that's all right. I'm beautiful. I got a big booty. I got everything going for me. I'm well
Take your
educated.
time, friend. Take your time.
But why do I keep falling for you? Got somebody like Glenn, and you fall for somebody that's slow. You got Soldier Boy, but then you get the old man. You know, we continue to sometimes have to cleave back to what make us feel needed. That you continue to go through cycle. Thank y'all for being so nice. I'm human. I'm stupid.
No.
You know, we go through cycles where we do that, and that's just part of it. When I'm 40, I'm fabulous. I was like Tina Turner. Yes, girl, that's gonna be me. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with somebody dumb tomorrow, but
and it's okay if you do.
No, so check this out, Danny.
Life is a process.
So what I vibe from you in the short time that we've known each other and vibing from you and the field that you work in and the passion that you have for your work, you're not stupid at all. Your being attracts those who need mothering, nurturing, caring. Your being does that for you automatically. It attracts that. And then you being a nurturer, you being a lover, you being someone who wants people to be well, you can see brokenness in people and want to help with that. Not necessarily fix it, but you know your presence in that person's life could be better for them. Not thinking for yourself that their presence in your life is going to be shitty as hell.
Baby,
and that's why you come out of the situation feeling like you're stupid. You're not stupid.
No, not at all. Not stupid at all. And oh God, now I'm finna reveal a little bit. So hear me out, Dan. Listen. People will love the theory of you. People will love the theory, and that's what I had to realize about myself. So when I see stupid and attracted to stupid, I'll be like, wait a minute. You need a therapist, and I will now send you my invoice because I now know that what you're going to get from me what you need, but I'm not going to get from you what I need. So you literally have to, honestly, and this is all your work that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be like, am I going to indulge in this, or am I going to, you know what? I'm going to be a little cranky in the middle of the night, but listen, I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to wake up, and it's going to be all over. Listen, it's all a choice, but listen, people love the theory. The thing is, people don't, and this is what Egypt said, people see the nurturing, people see the mothering and the fathering side. People need it because they did have it. You know, we talk about the 5 love languages, right? But what we're not talking about is the 5 love languages are really what we have been lacking since we have been at birth. So the thing is, when you have done your work, you become the better version of you. And when you become the better version of you, you attract the very people that you were sent here to liberate.
Yep.
It's not for you to fall in love with. And I get that we get lonely sometimes because we literally are in charge of everything in our lives, and we want the moment of relaxation. But the thing is, we still have a mission. So are you going to literally just, you know what? If you might have a stupid moment, because I've had stupid moments, and grace and mercies are new every day. You've had your stupid moments, and that's all right. But now comes the point in, you know what? I know what you need, and you need therapy, and I'm gonna suggest this person to you. I can't do this because it's I'm not going to get the reciprocity that I need. And listen, in this point in my life, in this season, and what this panorama, this pandemic has done, it has they shut down the outside, but it's literally brought up the voices within me. Like, I need to get my shit together. So my offer and suggestion to you, Danny, and other people out there in this virtual world that is tuning in, you are a theory, and people will test. Theories are meant to be tested. And when people test those theories, a lot of times you get what you want, and most of the times you don't get what you want. And it's up to you to do your work.
When I say offering,
Baby, what's your cash app? What's your cash app?
Loaded. Y'all.
I got to pass the shoe around, baby.
Pass it.
What's your cash app, baby? What's your cash
Listen.
app?
The joy of this type of podcast is that we are fully transparent. You will hear stories, we will share, because me sharing it will ignite for others to share. It's tough for me to say, girl, I still fall for the okie doke, but at the same time, look at what we've learned. Look at having a community that we can be open and talk about this to get some guidance, and just to be vulnerable to say, hey, you know what? I watched Tina Turner, I watched Billy, I watched their strength, but still myself as a woman, I fall victim to circumstances that I know better. And just having to talk through it, still being in the process. Y'all, this has just been an amazing share, and what a great panel. Y'all are some bodies, I tell you.
I've been waiting all my life to hear that.
You're welcome.
Everybody.
DK, you just blew my mind, man.
Everybody.
You got comments here, bro. You got comments.
You got to go
I posted the comments. You got
it's
comments.
The reciprocity, it's the talking, it's acknowledging and addressing it, entitlement, theory. Oh my gosh, hit the nail on the head. The theory of you, the mothering, the love languages, those are type of things that we don't hear to define our actions, because we don't have the words to explain our why. I love it.
I love y'all. This was amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I'm just waiting on him to break out again so I can listen. Go ahead.
Listen, y'all, DK is the truth. Let me tell y'all something. DK is the truth.
The whole truth. And DK, I have to tell you, I guess I'm sorry and you're welcome, because I absolutely use that method. When kids roll down my way, I'll be like, DK is on the 3rd floor. You want to walk up them back stairs and you want to hook a left. Because I can't.
And here's the thing, I would hear her from the 3rd floor, and I'd be like,
she loud. She loud.
Very loud. Very loud.
Yes. And that's one thing I'm trying to teach my young men is that, listen, you play a part. It takes 2 people or a group of people to get to a point. You play a part in the successfulness of Black women and vice versa. So you have to become aware. It's time. Listen, it's we done lived through a pandemic. Like, it's time out for the bullshit, y'all. We have to literally start living in a way that we uplift each other.
Definitely.
Listen, y'all.
That's it.
Okay, you guys, as we wrap up, because we've been on here almost 2 hours, and it's only supposed to be an hour. But listen, y'all, y'all living in the chat. Our viewers, y'all still hanging with us. We are loving it. Okay, so bringing these 3 women together, what makes them the same? Whoever wants to take that, or whoever wants to take it first, because I got an answer too. But
the awareness of self, even though it happened in different places of their life, but just tying it back around to what we've been talking about tonight, even though it didn't happen at the same point for them, the awareness of self and knowing their worth, asking for their worth, and living truthfully in knowing their worth. I'd say that's their biggest similarity of these 3 women.
They counted the cost.
Ooh.
They counted the cost. They literally counted up the cost. They looked and saw If I do this, this happens. If I do that, that happens. Billie Holiday knew she was being followed and she knew she was going to die. Aretha Franklin knew that she had to literally come from her up under her father's shadow and find her own voice. Tina Turner knew that if she did not leave, she would die. And who would raise her kids? She had to fulfill what her purpose was. So they counted up the cost.
That's it. That's it. Where are the white sheets?
I turned my camera off by accident because I was so full. Whoo, Sean.
All of them were just commanders. Like they weren't taking. There was no BS. None.
That's good, Sean.
You weren't getting ready to play with none of them. They weren't playing with you. And I'm looking at. I didn't get Tina's command out of the movie, but I got it out of the documentary. I'm like, oh, you. That was you.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of already knew Aretha, how she was, and then I saw how Billy could be via the movie. But I got to really see Tina's command come through the documentary.
Absolutely.
Danny?
Well, I think I've said it all night. It was the tenacity and the perseverance. I don't want to say it was a comeback because they didn't go nowhere, but how they shifted in the latter part of their lives and how powerful that was. Billie Holiday told that person to kiss her ass, and while she was on her deathbed, and they handcuffed her dead body. And laughed,
girl.
And went on to that. Probably not all at the same time, but they didn't take down and they made meaning out of their trauma. They didn't use it to stay in that same thing. They were able to come out and again, they began to understand how to do their own brand. And that's absolutely correct.
Karen, that's it.
Yep.
Karen said it, baby. Karen said it.
That's it.
I'll put it back up.
Ownership. They took ownership of them.
They began to understand how to own their brand. Brand.
How to own it. Correct. I'm so I was reading and trying to talk, but that Karen that stopped me in mid sentence.
Karen, that stopped me, baby. That stopped me.
Yeah.
Good.
Go ahead, Fred.
I would say this: between the three women, I feel like they were very strong. They're very boisterous. I looked at Aretha to be the first woman to own her own rights. No one else, as her manager said it, who had the same manager as the same manager as Ray Charles,
right?
Jerry. I feel like we have to, again, as Karen said and as Danny said, own our own brand. They came into their own. Billie came into her own. Aretha came into her own. Tina came into her own. Going back to DK when Tina said, "My name. I don't want nothing else but name." And I feel like and we didn't touch on it tonight, but that's okay because with Tina owning her own name, that was ownership for her. It wasn't about the cars. It wasn't about the furs. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the kids. It wasn't about the marriage. It was about my name. I worked hard. As she said, I worked hard for my name. I worked hard. I beat me. I danced. I rehearsed. And in all of that, I chanted to get out of what I thought was normalcy. But I persevered. And that's what we don't really cultivate. I'm not going to get emotional, but that's what we don't cultivate in our culture is that we persevere. We have a lot of people, we have a lot of Black and African American women who have persevered, who have been through domestic violence, who have been through verbal abuse, as well as domestic abuse, as well as everything else. We have a lot of Black women who have been through that. We don't appreciate that enough. And Tina, Aretha, Billy. I think back to the scene in Billy where she says, "I want you to fuck me hard." Now, I excuse my hard language, but that's what she said, and she said, "Because this is all I know."
She sure did.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
And to me, I told my roommate, I said, I got to stop watching this because it's too much. I said, it's too much for me. It's too much. And as she was trying to explain to the young man that and what I got from that was she was explaining to the young man that you want to be with me, but you can't handle what I've been through. You can't fuck me how I need to be fucked because this is what I'm used to. Again, excuse my language. But that's what she said, because it's what she's used to. And when you're used to something,
use the scissors.
You adapt to it. And adapting to it, that makes you accustomed to it. And when I'm accustomed to it, this is the only way I want it. And that's what I got from Billy when she said that. And it hurt. I actually cried during those scenes because for her, this was what was normal. But for the regular person, I won't say the normal person, but the regular person, this is something that's not normal. But because I want to satisfy you and I want to please you, I'm going to do it because it pleases you. So echoing, I don't like to say piggybacking, but echoing as to what DK said and to what all of you have said tonight, we have to really think about these situations, and we really have to think about the trauma that has caused everyone. But I'm grateful that all of them persevered through to give us good music, but in the end, they had to suffer. They all had to suffer for us to get the real thing, because with Aretha, she wanted to sing real music about her heartbreak. Billy wanted to sing real music about what was happening in the world and reflecting the times. Tina was singing, as Patrice said earlier, Tina was singing through her pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody please. And I promise you, I'm not going to get emotional, but I promise you, I'll never think of the song the same until Patrice said it tonight. I always, that's one of my favorite songs. But I will never think of it the same after tonight, because would somebody please tell me what's wrong? And Tina sung through her pain.
Yeah.
And Billy sung through her pain. And Aretha, she sung through her pain as well, but Aretha did something a little different besides the other two.
What's that?
Aretha didn't put it on blast, as the young kids would say. Aretha didn't put it on blast. Aretha kind of bottled it up and sent it out on the ocean. Aretha would tell you, one of my favorite songs is "Don't Play That Song for Me." That sweet melody.
She good. She don't need no more love song.
Aretha had a way of bottling it up to make you feel good. And to then be like, to go back to the lyrics and be like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
It's an issue here. There's an issue here. But she did not, and I feel like the church kind of caused that.
Maybe not caused it. Maybe not caused it as much as taught it.
Taught it. I didn't want to say taught it, but you said it. So
no, that's those are lessons that we learn, and we portray them differently as adults about what we bottle up, what we sweep under the rug, what we don't talk about. But that's a behavior that is commonly learned in the Black church. We don't talk about that shit.
We don't.
What happens in this house stays in this house.
I had to tell my kid the other day, I know I ain't doing nothing in this house that's going to cause DCFS to come get you or for me to go to jail. If you don't talk to your goddamn counselor and keep it real with that man so we can get some assistance and everything around here can be hunky-dory, you better stop playing with that man and talk to that man. Well, I didn't want him to know our business. Girl, we ain't got no business. That's what the therapist is for.
You better say it.
Yeah.
BS, talk to that man.
Yes, and I think once we realize like white patriarchy is not for us,
no,
we're going to literally start a lot of healing and start a lot of the process of doing the work.
That's it.
We're different people and we don't realize that. But I think maybe sometime before the trumpet sound, we'll get it.
Hey.
I pray.
I'm doing my part.
You guys,
And we-
okay. Before we wrap up, because we're wrapping up. We're almost at 3 hours, y'all. We had 2 hours and 39 minutes, y'all. As we wrap up, what I'm gonna ask each of you, what has these three women taught you in these past few months? Because we've been watching their stuff since January, and it's April. What have these three women taught you that will stick with you?
Man, keep going.
DK, the people want to book you, baby.
Oh my God. What these women have taught me outside of the songs that I literally play every day, I have to earn it. I have to earn it. And earning love and earning the life that I want, the legacy that I want to leave, I have to earn it. Ain't no shortcut. I didn't grow up white. I don't have the privilege, but I do have the culture and the tenacity.
Yes, she does.
And so earning it and knowing that what I'm doing is going to outlive me.
Have you?
Ooh.
And so we're talking about Aretha. She's gone. We're talking about Billie. She's gone. Tina, thank God she's still here. But she has literally been able to literally put down the mic and put down the red Louboutins and say, this is it. I'm finna enjoy my life. So I have to earn it. And that's what I'm going to do from here on out. I'm going to earn it.
My Lord. Egypt.
First off, don't nobody want to go after DK. I will say that the three ladies taught me authenticity, which is something that I have been actively working on anyway. It is one of my assignments for 2021 in my counseling sessions is being me in all spaces. I have the tendency to diminish myself in certain rooms because I know I take up a lot of space. I recognize that me and my personality and who I am, it encompasses and takes up a lot of space. And sometimes I'm often in rooms where I feel that I am sucking space from someone else who actually needs it. And so I'm actively working on staying authentic and true to myself and being fair to everyone in the room, but still staying authentic and true to myself. And I think all three of these ladies were that till the end. They were quite authentic in themselves. Yeah.
Sean. Your camera's upside down.
How you do that?
Flip your camera, Sean. Flip your camera.
Can he hear you?
Unmute your mic.
He just said he don't know what's going on.
Lord.
Poor Tank.
That's them rock steadies.
Listen, because they done took me down.
Hey! There we go.
Okay. You won't. Okay. He. Okay. All right. Okay. You back? We got you.
No, you're mute.
No, I'm not mute. I'm on.
No, him.
Who? Oh,
Him.
he's mute. Oh. Unmute your mic. We got you.
Y'all got
There
me?
you go.
No, you're mute.
I don't know what's going on. Okay. Let me
I'm
on.
mute. I'm on.
No, him.
We can hear you now.
Oh, he's mute. Oh.
Can y'all hear me
Unmute your
now?
mic.
Yes,
I
we
did.
we can hear you now.
Y'all got me?
He's delayed.
I don't know what's going on. Okay. Let me on.
No, him.
It's always
We can
me.
hear you now.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what's going
Put
on.
him,
Okay.
put him back in good view. He's
Fred,
always
just go ahead and end it. I
back.
can't hear y'all.
It's always
We can
me.
hear you now.
Go ahead and end it.
Lord. Okay.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes. That's because he got the delay on.
I don't know
Danny, give us
Put him
your
back
thoughts.
in good view. He's
Fred.
All
Danny,
right.
give us your thoughts.
This all of this was just heavily loaded. One thing that I think Fred and we chatted and we really talked about the second half and thinking about just what Tina did in her second part of her life. One thing that I could take from all of these ladies is that they're not defined by their trauma. They wasn't defined by the early stories, and that they took that and they made lemons out of lemon. I mean, lemonade out of lemons. One thing about all of these is that I remember Lady Sing the Blues came out. I remember, what's love got to do with it, and I'm pretty sure there was all kind of different things about Aretha. And then when the other movie comes out, it might be a whole different point. But the way all of these stories were told, it would not give real voice to what actually happened, and that as people that seen this, we are taking bits and pieces from this story. And so for me, what I decided to take from the story that was portrayed was the strength, was the endurance, and was the fact that they were able to overcome and not so much fall victim to the trauma, fall victim to the beating, fall victim to the daddies, fall victim to that, but really take the joy in seeing these women be successful, being able to command a stage and just being the brilliance that they are, identify with myself, recognize that I have some moments where I may fall victim to this. And it's okay to hold that. It's okay that I am not all the way where I need to be, nor may I not get there consistently. I may fall back and I may go ahead and advance, but that's me. That's part of being Black Girl Magic, and just respecting them for their genius, respecting them for their gifts, and then also having a chance to kind of see how that transfers to my life. So it was just brilliant seeing their lives told through somebody else, and then just respecting the fact that the voice that they gave to me, the voice that they gave to so many people. So I just applaud their efforts. And again, I'm really going to live that Tina Turner. DK, you said something that I am really living within, which is the reciprocity. So making sure that I'm not giving more than I'm getting,
Yeah.
making sure that the relationship is not in a theory of me, the ideal of me, but to accept all of me, know that I'm all of the 5 love languages, and taking that, knowing me and looking at the point in the story where they depicted when they came into themselves and the joy of that part, and watching that, going back and rewinding and seeing that part of the story is always an amazing part to me. So I will hold on to that.
Beautiful.
I love you, Danny.
I love you.
Listen, Danny, I can't take it when you talk. It just wears me out, you guys. Okay, Deshaun, give us your thoughts, please. Now that you're back. Oh shit! Wait, I'm sorry. Whoopsie, I muted you. Okay,
You
you're
hear me
back.
now? You hear me?
Yes, yes.
They taught me the power of the Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll never forget it as long as I live. Black women have built this country, and we've been standing on y'all's shoulders. Y'all set the. I mean, Tina said, "I'm going to be the first Black woman rocking what was it, rock and roll artist," and so it was. She went after what she wanted. Aretha went after what she wanted. Billy went after what she wanted. Man, listen. At the end of the day, Black women are dope. I know they like to say that all, but we ain't talking about all right now. We talking about Black women. Y'all are dope, man. That's all I got to say.
Whew.
Well, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, y'all. Listen. This has overjoyed me so much. I love Black women. I love Black culture. I love Tina Turner. I love Aretha Franklin. I love Billie Holiday. Egypt has given us all three with wigs and these costumes. Like, y'all, oh my God, this is crazy. Patrice gave us so much earlier.
Yes.
She's over on Avery Sunshine's live right now, you guys. But this has been a great night. We have unpacked this trauma. I feel better about Aretha. I feel better about Tina. I feel better about Billy.
Absolutely.
We have unpacked all of this tonight, and there's so much more to unpack, you guys. So, again, if you have not seen these films or these documentaries, please go to your streaming outlet, whether that be Hulu, HBO Max, and Hulu again for Aretha, YouTube TV, whatever you have. If you've got regular cable, because I don't have that, but if you've got that, go forth. Not my testimony. You guys look up these films. Look up, go on Lifetime and look up the Mahalia. She didn't have a whole lot of trauma. She had a lot of trauma in the beginning from the Black church, but we're not here to talk about that.
That's
But,
enough.
y'all look that up. Look up these documentaries. Look up these films. Look up these shows. We have given you all a night of trauma. Those of you there are a lot of Black female artists that are on this live tonight, and I just want to just shout out to you for staying on. And y'all, I hope that you got something from this tonight that will help you, that will cultivate you, that will push you forward, you guys, into your next moment, into your next recording, into your next destiny. Shout out to all of our co-hosts. I feel like Danny, I feel like we need to just make them a part of the show.
Just come on in with us. We one big family. Thank
you.
y'all.
Shoot first, because we professional. We gotta do a photo
Join
shoot.
this cult movement.
You know, I love a good camera.
Yeah, man. Who? DK? But you
Come
start.
on, CULTish family.
Because we love y'all. And I also didn't feel like y'all was co-hosts. Y'all was just, brothers and sisters that was logging in that didn't do the photo shoot the first time. But we can do a photo shoot the second time and it'll be okay.
All I ever wanted in my life was for Danny to look in the camera and say, "You is somebody," and I got that.
Hey!
I'm good. I am good. Okay. I am good.
And she said it tonight.
She told me. She told me. So I don't ever have to come back. But I will gladly accept the invitation. But I don't ever have to come back. I'm done. I'm full.
She said it tonight. Wait, she done popped out. She gonna pop back in like the Grinch. Hey, how you doing?
I'm full, okay?
Full. Let me tell you, Egypt, you have blessed me tonight on your. We got a lot of comments coming in. Angela Cole, who has her own. You guys follow the Love and War podcast. Those of you that are married in relationships, y'all. Let me tell you something. Angela and her husband have an amazing podcast called Love and War, and it's amazing. Y'all she's followed us since Wine and We Crap. And let me just say this: Bree's not on tonight, you guys, but I did extend the invitation to Bree to be a part of this conversation, but she's busy. She's in LA. But we have not let go of Wine and Recap. As soon as Insecure season 5 comes out, Wine and Recap is back. Okay.
Come on, we ain't going nowhere.
It's just me and Danny because Bree is very busy. So
Black Girl
Danny
Magic
and I are doing our own thing. Black Girl Magic because Bree's
back out. That's my
Janet Jackson shirt because the Velvet Rope tour was the best tour of them all.
Oh, here we go with Janet Jackson.
Listen, She had a lot of trauma too. Her
Yeah,
daddy was.
Janet Jackson got a little,
We're not gonna talk about tonight.
yeah. Janet Jackson got a
Period.
little wreath on her too.
Let me
She
tell you
don't really
something.
talk about it.
Dave Martin has been on all night, you guys.
Hey, Dave.
We love Dave, y'all.
Congratulations, Dave.
This is a plug. Dave is dropping an album tomorrow.
Let's go, Dave.
You heard it here first. Glory Song Ministries Volume 1. Available on all digital outlets tomorrow. Y'all can pick up that album because that's my best
I'm
friend,
so
y'all.
proud of
Go get
you,
the album.
Dave.
I love Karen Evans. She's here tonight. She was amazing on commenting. I love Karen. Karen has a hat line. Y'all go. She's got some amazing fedoras. You see it in her profile picture. She's got amazing fedoras that are custom made. Y'all hit Karen up. Okay?
Go ahead, Karen.
Because we love Karen. And of course, Angela, who's been with us since Wine and Recap. She said I was coming on tonight, period. Y'all follow Love and the Love and War podcast. Y'all do that for me, okay? We love everybody that's here. If you got a business, drop it before we log off. But I'm gonna let Danny give us our final thought for tonight. We've had an amazing conversation. Shout out to Egypt. Shout out to DK. Shout out to Deshaun and Danny, and of course me. Y'all, this has been a great conversation. I feel like we have unpacked a lot of Black trauma. I feel like we have unpacked a lot of trauma in the industry as far as music. So I feel like this conversation has went above and beyond, you guys. The comments tonight have blessed me. It feels like you guys were freed. It feels like we set Aretha free, Billy free, and Tina free. We got a lot of their comments out. When I thought of this, I told Danny and I told Deshaun, I said, we got to do something. I've watched all of this stuff. We got to do something. And it's traumatic. But in order, when you have, in the words of Tina, poison can become medicine.
That's it. That's it.
And I feel like tonight was medicine for a lot of people. It was medicine for me. Karen said she got free. Take your time.
Take your time.
I'm inboxing you to order me a fedora because I want a very custom made. I need some drama faces on the side. Okay.
Ooh, drama face. Call me.
Listen, she does Egypt. She does custom fedoras. Okay, they're very custom. Okay. But I feel like tonight was a very freeing night. We had a lot of viewers on. We had a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement, and I'm happy about it. So I will say this as we close, that I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you guys for being here. I thank you guys for sharing the video. We're so grateful. We will be back soon. I can't say that we'll be back next week, but it looks like we're going to probably do a once a month or 2 times a month thing. But this podcast tonight, this 2 hours and 56 minutes, will be available tomorrow on our podcast channel, which is available on all podcast outlets: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. It will be available for you guys to download that you missed it. It will be available for you to listen because we had some great nuggets tonight. I got a lot of notes from DK. I got a lot of notes from Egypt. I got a lot of notes from Deshaun. I got a lot of notes from Danny. And I got a lot of notes from Patrice. And I got a lot of notes from myself. But we are so glad that you guys tuned in. So Danny's going to give us our final thought and we're going to log off for the night.
My brother, you said it all. One thing that I would like to leave you all with is just listen to this again when you need to have something minister to your soul, to your being. The reason why we have this podcast is to celebrate our culture, celebrate things that's unique to us. Surround yourself with good people, y'all. Talk about the things that may be a little odd or not something that we really want to talk about. Give light to situations that may be dark for you. And please remember that there is always somebody that can see and hear you. If you need help, reach out. And one thing I would like to say is that we thank you for the time and the energy and your presence that you've given us, and we feed off of it. You all, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, and be blessed. Thank you so much for your time.
We love y'all. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Look out for it. We're ready. We're out.
Peace.
We're rolling.